Hello, and welcome to Scuttlebutt, the War Movie Review Podcast. We're happy to have you with us as we take a look at films from the dawn of cinema to today. We aim to provide a raw and unapologetic review of each film's cinematography, historical accuracy, and delivery. In the process of analysis, certain details will be revealed. These spoilers are only divulged to ensure a fair assessment of each film.
We hop on a champagne flight from Sydney to Saigon this week with Kriv Stender's 2019 Vietnam War epic, Danger Close. As always, I'm joined by Mike A.
Hello.
Mike B.
Hey.
And Migraine Nate.
Migraine Nate. It sounds like you're trying to say like my Uncle Nate or my grandpa Nate. Migraine
like,
Nate.
Migraine Nate.
On a scale of
You want some cheese with that wine?
Sucks ass.
on a scale of, like muted Mel to like screaming Mel, how you feeling? 1 to 10.
It's a minor Mel. But he's
Not great. Not
he's
terrible.
He's stabbing my brain with a hatchet right now. So
Oof, not good.
yeah.
Nice. Well, hopefully you'll still have a brain left by the end of this.
Yeah, hopefully combat and people dying and blowing up will help with that.
Loud noises and bright things.
Well, it was funny. I've had it like for like all day, and I watched it. It wasn't bad, but it was just like
the movie or the migraine?
The migraine. The movie affecting my migraine wasn't that bad, thankfully. But
Yeah.
But it was. Speaking of the movie, I was happy we decided to tackle this again because this is one of the lost episodes, and I am happy we are coming back because I think I enjoyed it more than the first time around.
Yeah, we can analyze it more, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, Australians, Vietnam. First off, a lot of people probably don't know the Australians were there, along with New Zealand and even the Spanish sent a medical unit to Vietnam during the war. There's a lot of, other nations that were in country, the Rock Marines as well. But it's really awesome to see, a modern rendition as well of Australians in Vietnam. There's a movie in the 70s that's really good, but it's a bit outdated and it was very low budget, called The Odd Angry Shot, which is fucking awesome. It's about Australian SAS forces in Vietnam. And it's great. It's really well done. It really shows, your typical deployment. But this is just, the modern iteration of that. So it's just really cool to see it tackled again. So yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I'm very happy that we circled back to this and really looked at it. And there's a lot that this movie has in common with other Vietnam War movies. It's a lot it's trying to do. So it's very interesting. But what do you think, Michael?
It's trying to think of something. Trying to think of my thoughts from before and try not to say the same thing again without sounding.
Well, nobody else heard it, so
I know, but it's like trying to sound disingenuous. I thought it was, there were parts of it that I liked, but kind of like what I had said about 1898 or whatever that was called. That like you can tell that this is definitely like based on a true event. However, like there's fictional elements to it, which is fine. I mean, you're going to do that in everything, but I felt that this version, I don't know, felt a little more. I don't want to say entertaining is the right word, but I connected with it more, I think, in that aspect. And I thought a lot of the stuff they did with the characters was good. I like the, I forgot what he is. He's the guy who's in charge of everything. He doesn't really care about the troops at first, but then, he comes around to, to being their leader, as it were. I thought that was a good, character development, character arc. I thought some of the action was good. I actually did feel that when bullets were flying, there was real danger, people getting shot and stuff like that. And I like when shit really hits the fan at first. When these two guys get shot, they drop immediately and they're dead. There's no like lingering death or anything. It's just like dead. There were that stuff I thought was really well done. But there was some stuff in it, and we can get into it as we go on, that was, kind of action movie-ish, I felt. But overall, I think it's, it's pretty good. And it does touch on a topic that, again, like you said, Brian, not a lot of people know about. And that's always a positive thing that any war film, historical film can do.
For sure. you know, and the man who's dressed for the advisor role, at least, you know, or the guy would be at the other end of the radio for talking to the Australians. What do you think, Mike B?
Yeah, and a lot of what Mike said is, yeah, but the character development is a lot better than what I remembered from before, because we have covered this before, but I'm the one that like fucked up the audio, so we couldn't do that. But like this will be better. But like yeah,
it's like
so
the Hitler Diaries. This is one of the episodes that was lost. You know.
But yeah, it's like there's actually people here. You know, they're getting wounded, they're getting killed, they're in a really shitty spot, and you get like close to the characters. You kind of get a little bit close, but then like not too close. So when they actually do get hit or whatever, or they survive, you're like, oh well, shit. And that's kind of like a realistic thing. Is like, okay, well, this guy got killed, and I can't let it affect me right now, and it doesn't in the film. Like as the way it's portrayed is like with the Aussies, guys die that you don't expect to die. You don't want them to die. And it happens. That's how it happens in real life. But it's like the reactions from their guys were good because it was like, fuck. Okay, but we're still in the situation. You know, and that I thought was pretty good. Pretty good. What I have a problem with is, like I said in the first time, and I still see this, is the North Vietnamese army just charging forward. Yep, charging forward. No tactics used whatsoever. It's portrayed as just they're like this massive horde of guys with guns running at them. And that to me is just, it's so inaccurate. It's so against everybody that I've talked to who was in Vietnam said they were scared shitless because they didn't know what the hell those guys were going to do. If this was like, okay, if this is their MO, even very early on, right? In 65 or 66, if they were to just do like these massive charges and like come at you, it's like, okay, well, we have something for that. But that's not the reality. And so I found that very problematic, and we're going to talk about that more. But the weaponry, pretty fucking cool. The character development, and again, I'm not an expert on Australian uniforms in the Vietnam War. I don't know, but they did have a mix of like as far as their gear of like P-37, M56, and P-58 gear. Like, so they had a mix of all three that I know of. Like, there could have been more, but like that was pretty cool to see as far as their gear is concerned.
That was interesting. I know a little bit about this because I used to do ASASR reenacting. And at this point in the war, it would be more of the Aussie gear because they were fresh off the boat. A lot of it was 58 gear. I did see the 37 large packs, which I thought was interesting. And it wasn't
pouches.
Yeah, it wasn't
ammo pouches. Yep.
It wasn't exactly 58 gear or whatever it's called as the British standard. There was an Australian version that was a little different, like all the Commonwealth countries.
Sure.
So I'm saying P58 just colloquially. I know there's some guy in Melbourne who's like, "You fuck." Yeah, I'm getting it wrong.
Melbourne.
But
it's not Melbourne. It's Melbourne.
I'm an American. But like, you know, if I'm going to get your gear wrong, I'll get your name wrong too. But I apologize. Yes. But no, it's like, so that's a colloquialism. I know that there's probably a better term for it. Like in Rhodesia in South Africa, they have 58 gear, but it's called P65 or 64 gear. So just the same thing. It's the general idea of the 58 pattern webbing.
It's all drab. It's different than the P37 a little bit. But it's still
it's great gear to wear. If anybody's ever worn it, it's probably one of the better LBEs. It's very comparable
until it gets wet.
Until it gets wet, yeah. Like, well, yeah. 56 gear is really good.
Until it gets wet.
Yeah. But the 58 gear is really good. It's just a little bit more cumbersome than 56. But you can run around with it. You feel very comfortable. It's not like German field gear. Cold War field gear kits and LBEs are awesome for anyone that's ever fielded them. They're really ergonomic and made for the soldier. So until you get to like, you know, fucking plate carriers and shit, and then stuff goes downhill. My lower back.
Yeah, you know, aesthetics is always one thing that we always like to talk about, and this is definitely, you know, one of those unique ones that stands out because it's a Vietnam film. But you know, and people think of Vietnam initially here in the United States anyway. They think of M16s and M1 helmets with camo net, covers and stuff like that. But in this, it's like, you see SLRs and you see Owen submachine guns and things like that.
Yep.
Different. It's like it's cool to see. And also, like, in terms of the other, the enemies, you see, like, a Sturmgewehr at one point and things like that, which is, from what I know, accurate.
Yeah, we'll definitely get there. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, like, stuff like that is cool in terms of this film being a unique Vietnam film.
Oh, yeah. My favorite thing they got right, and I'll see if you know this, Mr. Mike B., the handsets. All the radio handsets were correct. And
See, I
they're
don't
the
know that.
special Vietnam War ones that have a box on the bottom with 2 little holes. While later on in the war, or actually after the war, they switched to a different version that has a circle on the bottom and a circle on the top, like everybody's ever seen in every Vietnam War movie ever.
Mm-hmm.
But the real version they used during the war was really shitty, and it's got a little square on the bottom. So it was really cool to see that from a lot of the Australians. And
Yeah,
stuff.
and I wouldn't to notice that at all.
That's super
that's a really
niche-y. Yeah, but like
good detail. Yep.
It's a really bad handset, but it's the right one. And so when he was like slamming it up against the radio, I'm like, that's a $500 handset. But okay, that's probably
Hacker
a
doesn't know that.
Yeah, right. Oh, I know he doesn't.
Right.
Me and Nate had an experience with that in our short film where an actor didn't know that he was holding a very expensive gun and threw it around like a frisbee.
And fucking broke it and caused about $1,000 worth of damage. Yeah.
Yes, and luckily we have it all on film.
What about Nate's thoughts?
We kind of got them earlier, but yeah, if you want to.
Well, I mean, I'll give a brief summary. I guess the rest of everyone did. There are some things in this movie that I think I adopted it for the last time around that I'm not going to do it this time because I actually thought it was really good. There were a lot of really cool, somewhat cliche but really cool cinematography, and I liked the ideas. I was noticing a lot more details this time around, mainly in just how they chose to film. Mainly I think it was the landscape that I was really, really kind of looking at again more in detail and how it was working within the movie. Primarily, I really was loving the rubber trees.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the goo that comes out and all that stuff with that, and it was just really, really cool. And I thought that was very bold to make a scenario with like rubber trees like that, where it's like, an added problem. It's not just, you do CG splinters. Now get ready to pack all your fake trees with goo, like that kind of thing. So it was
they really utilized that set well.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was one thing. The weapons are really cool. I know we're gonna get into that. I was loving the fact that I really wanted to get an L1A1 again. I've been eyeballing one at my local store, and it costs way too much, but I might do a dive on that. Who knows? And
The thing was huge.
It was just a really, really cool. Now, how I love Travis Fimmel. I like the way he did stuff. I liked it a lot. What else? I really was enjoying. I even was enjoying the fact that, even though Viet Cong have that horde mentality, it was really, really cool to see that running through the woods and seeing how that was done, the explosions and everything, and the weaponry. I was not fond of CG flashes and shooting.
Mm-hmm.
That
You can always tell.
I was noticing it a whole lot more this time, and a whole lot more that it was very, very there.
That really detracted from the film, I feel like.
Yes, same.
And what I hate is that bullet time where they like follow the artillery shell or whatever.
Yeah.
Once was okay.
Once was okay, but if they did it twice,
That's a good transitional thing. I know, though, when I saw that Michael, I was just like, you're going to bring up White Tiger and, like, all the Russian stuff.
It's
which is horrible.
T-34.
T-34.
Oh, T-34, yeah, like the Russian stuff. Which if it's overdone, it's too much. But I feel like that shot works just because they're like, this is where the support is. This is how far alone they are.
And
so usually it's shitty, but I'm going to let it pass this
I
one
didn't
time.
hate it, but I wasn't like, super turned off by it. But like,
Yeah.
it's still, I was kind of like,
This
yeah,
world of
all right,
tanks, I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the I will say something that we always comment on, and I think since the last like a couple episodes we've noticed it, is that the artillery actually had movable parts within it once it fired.
Yes.
I wrote that. I said better artillery than Thin Red Line.
Yeah.
So-
Way better because
yeah.
it reciprocates. Like the recoil actually happens, not necessarily when it's supposed to, but it still happens.
But it still happens. And
It still happens.
and I do want to comment, since you said Thin Red Line, and I believe Mike B had said something about character development. I cared more about every single one of these characters than anyone in Thin Red Line.
Yeah.
So just
Those
FYI.
characters are impossible to care
Yeah.
for.
Why are we here?
Yeah, why
What are we doing here? Is this real?
is this real life?
Is this... Am I back home?
And he sat and he watched Is This Billabong?
God damn. But yeah, no, I mean we can dive right into it. But that's kind of like my brief thing
Cool.
about it. I mean, the gun flashes is what I hated. I'll tell you one character I don't bond with. I don't bond with I don't know if it's the actor, and I hate to, if it was the actor, but I feel like he plays the same kind of like emotional range as a plank board all the time. Is the guy who got shot in the head perfectly between the eyes. That guy, he always plays just such wooden characters to me. I can never get behind anyone he plays, but he's been in a bunch of stuff. But
Yeah. That specific death, because I'm sure, again, like that guy is probably based on a real person who probably
Yeah,
did
he is.
actually die.
Yes.
But like, yeah, that part where it's just like,
and he
center,
probably did
like,
get shot perfectly between the eyes. But the point is that cinematically, it's just I hate it.
Well, it's because it's done in slow motion and everything.
It's like it's done by a guy who's running around, jumps over two logs, and hip fires one, hands him in the face. Like, come on. Like,
Well, numerous things play into it, but for me, like I hate the slow motion when it comes to that.
Well, Nate, maybe he was cast solely because he looked like the guy. So maybe that's just why you're like.
well,
he's
he
wood- 'cause
didn't because
I can't remember.
they do it side by side, and he looks nothing like
Yeah,
him. But yeah,
I can't remember what else he's in because I'm also horrible with
the
actors' names.
Punisher. He's in the Punisher. He
Which
plays
one?
actually
The newer one or the older?
the newer one. The
I've only
the
seen
TV
the older
series.
one,
Oh.
like the 2000s.
Well, you need to
one.
change that because the 2000s one.
I've
is
been
terrible.
told that a few times. Fuck it.
You have
I
John
like-
Travolta to go
It's
off.
like what I went
of.
to is. I know that's like
with
when I
like
was
with
still
like
in middle school.
Ace
or whatever.
Ventura fucking hair.
I also remember the Massacre of the fucking Family. But anyway, so while we're here, something that I'll propose to you guys is, so this is the third time I've seen this movie. And the first time I was like, it's okay. And the second time I was like, it's okay. And now I'm just like, I don't know what this movie is. And I really don't feel like this movie knows what it wants to be. Because there's so much going on. Like, if you really think about it, there's two different movies here. There's the movie about the Vietnam War Australian experience, and then there's the movie about the Battle of Long Tan. And it really is separated into the first part and the second part. You know, up until where it gets really quiet in the jungle and they get into that first firefight, which, by the way, I love. I love how quiet it gets, because I've heard that many times. I know you could argue against it, whatever, because you're walking through the jungle, so you're going to fucking make the bugs quiet anyway. But I really did like that. But I feel like up to that scene, it's a movie about the Australian experience in Vietnam. And I really feel like that detracts in a way, because what are you trying to do? You know, you're trying to make a movie about the Battle of Long Tan, or you're trying to make a movie about Australians in Vietnam. So I really felt a lot of things were taken from other Vietnam War movies to support the beginning of it. I got heavy Hamburger Hill vibes. I got heavy Platoon vibes. Even in a sense, Forrest Gump vibes when they were in the fire base and stuff. And I loved it. I thought it was really cool. I loved the mud. I loved the Land Rovers. I thought it was really cool to see that Vietnam fucking, Aussie fob experience. I thought that was neat. But I really felt like that is not the story you're trying to tell. You're trying to tell the story of these guys that somehow survived, a company being attacked by a regiment. That's what you're trying to tell. Not this bullshit with like a singer and stuff. And I think she was there. I should have looked more into it. But like, I feel like they were trying to do so much with this movie that it detracts from it in a way.
That part with the singer just went nowhere, and
Yeah.
didn't really
Well, I
have
think
anything,
if I remember correctly, she was at the base during the Vuitton, whatever, during the battle. So that's why she was in it. But again, her arc really doesn't matter besides like, look, Australians, like singers were also in Vietnam, were in country. And also, like, they're singing, like, Beach Boy music to, like, fucking, like, regular army guys. Like, this isn't Bob Hope. You're not in Peleliu, or you're not in Pavuvu before you go to Peleliu. Like, these are fucking killers and, like, kids. So you're not going to be fucking singing beach rock music to, these kids or whatever. Basically, to sum everything up, what I'm trying to say is that, the more I watch these movies for this podcast, the more I realize that these films are made for a specific audience. People really don't get Come and See because they didn't live through 1943 Belarusia. There's so much that's lost unless you fucking know all the nuances from that movie. Same thing here. I really feel like this was a movie it's about the Battle of Long Tan, but it's really a movie for Australian Vietnam War veterans. It's like, it's this all-encompassing film where, like, look, it's Australians in Vietnam. And I feel like, they were just kind of split on what story to tell here. And they did an okay job of doing it, but I really feel like if they had stuck to one thing or gone their own way, instead of trying to cherry pick this, in my opinion, they would have been better. But I really kind of got that feeling this time around. It's just like, what is this movie really about?
Okay. So Platoon, what was that battle? That they were trying to portray?
Or something.
Okay, Sui Cut. Yep.
Yeah.
You could say the same exact thing about that movie.
But
you could, like, with okay, right now with the logic that you just said.
But they don't even say the name of the battle at the end. And that's such a it's about a platoon of guys in country. Yes, it's based off real events, but this one is the Long Tan battle, the battle of the Australian War for Vietnam.
Well,
the first one
in text. Like, that's what it says in the movie.
It's not like Hamburger Hill is be a much better assertion for what you're saying, because it's like, oh, we have a fire base in the beginning, and then we go to this place we don't talk about. But it's also Hamburger Hill. But that film is solely about, the only reason you have the beginning is just to show how the army is. The only reason you have the beginning of this film is to show the Australian army in Vietnam. So what I'm saying is that, like, I feel like the producers were like, listen, this is our only shot we're ever going to have to make a movie about Australians in Vietnam with this kind of budget. So we have to show the home front showing up. We have to show all this. Which I get, but, like, it's not a purely film about, Long Tan at that point. Which is fine, but it's just, that's what I got this time around.
Well, one thing that's interesting about it, though, is that unlike most Vietnam War films, though, because you're saying, Brian, that it takes all of these elements, like, the little concert for the soldiers and stuff like that, and the base and whatnot, and setting up, all of this stuff that's going to lead to a battle from other Vietnam War films. The one thing that it does not have, though, is any kind of, like, real political message to it. I always feel that, like, most Vietnam War films are very much like they're trying to, convey that Vietnam was a bad idea, let's say. And this just, to me, felt more like, get the job done, kind of movie. It didn't really feel like that kind of, we're trying to say something about the politics of Vietnam or the mindset of people who were around during this time. It was more just like a kind of patriotic, get the job done, pull through this shit show type thing.
True, but it also is 50 years removed from the fighting and everything. An Odd Angry Shot is made in '79, touches a little bit on the politics of things and stuff. Like, they go to the war in a fucking commercial jet, a Qantas flight. They were called champagne flights. This film is very akin to We Were Soldiers, because We Were Soldiers also doesn't really go too far into the politics.
No,
I mean, a little bit, but not. But I feel like once we pass the threshold of, let's say, 1995, in the West, we've kind of have a softer approach to the Vietnam War movies and stuff, and not solely like Apocalypse Now or Platoon or like it's 20 years ago, fucking man. Like, what the fuck happened? Now it's like, it's 50 years ago, and my grandfather said he was an I-Corps. So it's a much softer approach, I feel. And also it's the Australian approach to the film too. So again, it's their own cultural thing to it.
Yeah.
I mean, Australia kind of viewed it as like, they kind of bought more into not the Marshall Plan, but the whole domino effect of like, this is our back door. Like, we have to protect Asia, because if not, we're next. And that's kind of the Australian mindset in the Second World War too. Like, you know, we love the Marines because they stopped the Japanese at our doorstep. Same kind of of thing, you know. So that's So it wasn't very political at the time. I mean, Australia's experience in Vietnam was very strange.
I looked up this movie though, and like nearly every review just said that, like, oh, they're avoiding the true issues, you know, they're avoiding the problem of this war and everything like that. And it's like that's a weird kind of criticism in a way. I don't know. It's like it's not what it's about, you know, and it's not right or wrong, you know. It's just like, this is what it is. If you want to make a political Vietnam War film, you can, you know.
One of my favorite quotes that I always got to remind myself when I read reviews, including myself, is critics are failed directors. 99% of the time, they can't get their shit made, so they have to fucking judge other people's work. I'm not saying that, like, Ebert or whatever, you know, some of the great reviewers are you know, sham artists or whatever. Don't take it that way. But opinions are assholes, you know?
No, I tend to agree. I love the scene in Birdman where he approaches the critic in the bar. You ever see Birdman? Yeah, and he just goes on that whole speech about how she just has never done anything for her work. But anyway, so yeah, no, I understand.
My favorite's History Roll Part 1, where after the first artists were created, came the first critics, and the guy pisses on the cave painting. Yeah, you know, I mean, people expect a Vietnam film to have that. Right. I expect this to be casualties of war. Not casualties of war, though, you know, like, well, we're past that.
And it's,
you know,
it's
we'll have a million movies
because,
at Iraq where it's like, a million movies at Iraq where it's just like, should we have been now? But 50 years from now, it's going to be like 15 miles out of Baghdad, 2007, this guy on patrol. You know, it's interesting where you get that.
Yeah.
You know, and when do things become history? When do you never forget?
Yeah, in terms of what, like, people criticizing it for that, you know, for not having whatever politics involved, like, you'll never hear that when it comes to, you know, World War II movies or something like that. So it's just interesting what people, like, deem, you know, what wars should be talked about in certain ways, you know.
Well, it's interesting, too. There was a comment from our D-Day episode with Steve, The Longest Day. He said something very interesting that I've been thinking about since we watched it. He said, you know, that you can never make a war movie as campy as The Longest Day after Vietnam. It's just impossible, you know? And I literally keep coming back to that comment. And I'm like, yeah, he's so true. You know, the Vietnam War killed that, you know, not that it was good or bad or whatever, but like that campy, you know, ensemble cast story. It went from The Longest Day to Hell is for Heroes in 5 years, you know? Like that... Like, well, we're winning the biggest battle of the war to, like, fucking Siegfried line hellscape, you know, and it's just interesting. But same thing for this, you know, you can't make it like that. The post-Vietnam, it has to be a certain way, you know, so.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It's just an interesting way to look at history and culture over the years, like 1980s, you know, movies about Vietnam versus, you know, 2000s to 2010s to now, you know, movies about Vietnam.
Yeah, you know, it has slowly changed, but it's really that, like, you know, 25-year mark where you see things being made about subjects of wars and stuff that are not politically biased and stuff. You know, it's like that line gets crossed, and it's nice. You know, you can say a million things about Vietnam. You know, I could talk here for hours about, you know, why the French got us involved in the war that we couldn't win, but that doesn't explain the story of 108 guys trying to fight for their fucking life in a jungle or in a rubber plantation in, you know, Southeast Asia. You know, it's just like that doesn't support the story you're trying to tell. Just like, you know, having a fucking singer in the movie for 20 minutes doesn't help the narrative of the Battle of Long Tan. You know, it's like,
no, this is very much a you know, let's appreciate what people, you know, kind of went through and everything like that. And especially at the very end when they have that song, I Was Only 19.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Red Gum?
Yep. Yeah, that feels very much like, you know, let's, you know, put our hand over our heart.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's a film made for Vietnam War veterans, you know? Because even in Australia, Long Tan Day is like the Vietnam Remembrance Day. You know, like that's how big it got. Because the Australians, they had a few other engagements during the war, but they nothing like those. Well, a few that were this big, but like this is the one. This is their A Shaw Valley. You know, so
the
like,
Kangaroo Wars were pretty big too.
Someone needs to make a movie about that.
So were the emu
They
wars.
lost twice. The
I wanna
Emu
watch-
Wars, man.
I want to watch the one on the emu, if there is ever a movie on the emu.
Well, we have to get a shitload of Lewis guns to make that.
There
one.
was
I'm okay
someone
with it.
there was someone on the war movie forums who was like, they were like, what movie would you want to what war would you want to see with like a decent
The
budget?
Emu Wars.
And
yeah.
someone said the Emu Wars on the bottom, and I laughed for almost 10 minutes.
Well, they actually they fucked up a lot of them.
Oh,
like
yeah.
they went out and like just slaughtered these fucking birds with Lewis guns because they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, these things fucking work. We know they work. We just got done using them.
Yeah.
Want
It's
to see how I
amazing.
used it on the fields of Flanders, motherfucker? Like,
Any
Yeah.
story can be made interesting. So I mean, yeah, it's like. But the problem is, like, I could totally see someone.
Avatar meets Emu War.
No, I could totally, because like birds for the most part are kind of like, you know, when people go ape shit sometimes over like deer and stuff like that. You know, people don't give a shit about birds. But I could see someone taking that and turning it into a comedy. Which it's like, I mean,
Dude,
I guess
Death
you
of
could.
Stalin, but Emu
Yeah,
War.
but the
would be
Emu
great.
Wars. Yeah, and I'm just like, I could see that being cringe. You know, if someone tried
Steve
to just turn
Buscemi
that-
is waging war on the emus.
Yeah.
One, my wife will counter you on people won't care about birds. Two,
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Emus are as close as to like velociraptors as you'll probably fucking get. So you know, it's like.
But birds, like, I don't know, like I've seen so many movies where like the death of a bird is a joke. You know, like the Simpsons did that a lot. You know, where it's like
Oh,
a
yeah.
bird dying or something is
And
funny.
The Simpsons is real life. I like that.
No, but it's like it goes to show you that people are more accepting of that sort of thing. Like, you know, in
Right,
terms of
right.
entertainment. Yeah, it's like you
There's
make
that.
a joke. You make a joke out of a beautiful doe dying. You know, people are gonna get upset about it.
Bambi. Yeah.
There's that really funny or not and also horrible PETA ad where it's like a bunch of animals. It's like, where does the line stop? And it's like right between pig and horse, like about here. You know, it's like it's what's an animal and what's
way back in the day, PETA had a fucking billboard that they paid, I don't know how many thousands of dollars for, that had a guy wearing a wool sweater saying, "Do you know how many sheep had to die for this man to wear this sweater?"
They did that. They did
Nice.
that, but they did that with crabs here in Maryland. That didn't last very long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And
crabs. How is the crab thing different, Nate?
We eat them. End of story. Anyway.
Yeah. So,
well, in Maryland, there's two types of crabs: ocean
Hold on,
crabs
hold-
and pubic crabs.
Brian, hold on for a second. We've got something here. So what I just said, Nate, you equated a wool sweater and sheep having to die for that sweater. You equated that to crabs, and you totally and completely, utterly missed the fucking point.
Yes.
Do you know how the process works to get wool for a sweater?
Yes. Yeah, you shear the sheep. You don't kill the sheep, you shear it.
Okay, so then how is that comparable to a fucking crab dying in Maryland?
I don't know. I just remember when PETA was just like, PETA would just put a billboard next to
The
me.
connection,
and
the
they put a
connection is
billboard
PETA
down.
billboard.
Yeah, that's what it. That's
We're
what,
nailing you
that's where
to the
mind-
wall, motherfucker.
That's where the mind connection came from. Was PETA put a anti-crabbing, anti-eating crabs in Maryland billboard. In
Okay,
Baltimore.
so let's get some more context before we get back on the rails.
I'm okay with Maryland stopping eating. That would help out a lot.
No.
of the country.
So what did the billboard say about crabs?
I
Remember?
don't remember off the top of my head. I just know they
Not,
wanted
not the fucking pubic lice.
no,
but
not
like
the
actual,
pubic
like,
lice.
edible
No, the
crabs.
edible like in the water crabs. They
It's
wanted
called
good crabs.
Maryland caviar.
They wanted
Yeah.
like Marylanders to stop eating crabs. I don't remember. I just ignored it like everyone else did in this fucking
Yeah.
state. Like, like just
Right.
like go the fuck away. Leave us alone. We'll eat our crabs and our
Right.
alien crustaceans by
Oh,
ourselves.
okay,
Thank you
so
very much.
even though I don't remember it, it was a retarded. It was a stupid billboard, right?
Yes, it was a
It
stupid.
was a
it,
stupid
it
billboard.
said it had a crab on it, and it said, "I'm me, not meat. See the individual, go vegan." And it had a crab going like this. So
Brian just looked
Really?
it up. Yeah.
Crabs are bugs that grow in the ocean.
and then
They're
Old Bay,
disgusting.
and then Old Bay.
Oh,
did,
Old Bay
did
on
an ad.
crab.
Did another ad below it or near it,
Yeah.
and it said, "Okay, now I'm meat," and it's a crab pouring Old Bay on itself. It said, "See the individual, put Old Bay on it."
That's a great
Oh,
counter.
that makes you want to eat.
That's
more
almost as good as
Old
like
Bay.
Twitter
You
fights between
don't. You
companies.
Yeah.
don't You do not mess with Marylanders and crabs. Period.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't
I
agree
would
with that
never
whole
do. I
statement,
would never
but-
even think of such a thing. That's why I was asking you. I
Yeah.
was asking you.
Yeah,
I was asking you a question.
Asking me a question. Same thing
Asking
with
you.
Aaron, and Iron. Yeah. So
I only know I was in Maryland for 20 minutes yesterday. That was 20 minutes too long.
That's not good, Brian.
did the Rofo attack
That's
you?
not good.
Or did it touch you?
No, but I feel like I have carcinogenic things in my lungs.
You just feel
now,
dirty.
you know,
You feel like you got the kind of dirty, like the shower is just not going to wash.
No,
off.
it's not going to rub off. You know.
Yeah, it's not
Like,
good.
You know, I was in Maryland once
We
and I
are
saw
so
gasoline
off
get
topic.
shoot out of my car. And like I like to go places where the laws of Newton get followed. But for some reason Maryland doesn't understand how
Wait.
like,
Yeah.
you know.
What did you see?
I went to a gas station called
Uh-huh.
Rofo, which is Royal Farms. It's like a chain.
You call
And
it.
I went to
you
get
call
gas.
it Rofo.
And like so anyway, yeah, well, this will get cut. But anyway, so like I go to pay for the gas
won't.
and like there's a bunch of Speedy Dry. And I'm like, oh, that's strange. But I need gas. So I'm getting gas. And I put it in, you know, whatever. And I go to like, you know, wait for the fill up. And I hear this like sucking noise. and gas is not going in the tank. That's empty, by the way. It's being violently shot out. Like at like 20 miles an hour against the pump. And I'm like, this is costing me money. Like this
You
is
just
actually,
sat there. You just sat there.
for a good 20, 25 seconds. I was like,
That's too long.
You just sat there.
well, listen, let's talk about this, Mike.
Yeah, we have to because
You've used
now
the par-
you're more retarded.
No,
You're more
how-
stupid than I thought you were.
Oh, I thought it's okay to use it in context.
Okay, whatever the fuck. It's your discretion, Dan. But look,
Chris, close your ears.
You sat and
Anyway.
you waited for
Long-
25 seconds when gas was shooting out of your fucking tank?
It took me
To
that
do
long
something.
to really realize what was going on. The
That's a
gravity.
were just-
long time,
It
Brian.
is, but
You were
okay,
like,
listen.
am I
How many-
hallucinating?
Yeah, how
do I
many
get
times
showered in
and
gas,
I-
or do I stare
and-
at it a little bit longer?
And I knew that I wasn't tripping that day. I knew I wasn't. So like I'm like I knew that reality was there, but like fucking yeah. How many times have you seen a gas pump shoot gas out of it at a 180-degree angle?
I've
Never.
seen
And if
that.
I did,
Exactly.
I'd be like, holy
That's
shit.
That's why. And I was a good 4 feet away, so I was just like, huh. So then I just fucking I walk over and I just take it out, turn it off, put it in the pump, and go to another
Yeah.
gas station.
I just like
What? Wait
20
a second.
seconds.
So, hold on. Okay. We're getting there, Michael. Just hold on. I have a fucking bone to pick with this little thing. I know we're off the rails, but like you waited an entire like 25 seconds, right? We'll just say, right?
Yeah.
Of watching gas shoot out of your gas tank, and then you're just like fucking drooling, mouth breathing, and then you're like, well, and then the resolve of that was, oh, just stop it, and then you put it back and drive away.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Bro.
where in the fuck in your mind did it never cross that you should maybe go in and talk to the attendant or the
Well,
person that
let
was
me
working
tell
there
you
and be like,
why.
hey, guess what?
Let-
Gas just
yeah.
shot out of my
Well, let
gas
me tell
tank.
you
I know why. I
I'll
know
tell you
why.
why.
I know
Remember
why.
how I
Okay.
started the story?
okay.
Okay.
Remember
I'm
there was
waiting.
like a fucking bed of Speedy Dry?
Okay.
They knew that there was a problem. Like fucking me going in and telling some attendant that doesn't give a shit about their job that pump 7 is fucked. Like royally. This isn't gonna solve shit. And I'm also on a road trip, dude. I got fucking 10 more hours to go. I'm not dealing with this shit. I'm going to a fucking mobile that works
Where's the next gas station?
across the street. Motherfucker.
So it was with an eyesight. It was with
I
an
would've
eyesight.
crossed
Okay,
the
good.
street.
It's Maryland,
I-
dude. There's a
okay.
gas
I-
station like across from the other gas station.
Yeah.
No,
Like-
yeah, but let me continue. I have to conduct the interview because this. I'm not okay with the fact that you sat there for 25 seconds watching gas.
Listen,
that you were
you know
paying
what?
for spill over.
You ever see a man eat his own hand?
No,
Well, if you had seen a man eat his own hand, you probably would be wondering for about 25, 30 seconds too before you reacted. I'm just saying. You know?
no,
That's-
I'd walk.
It's probably a 5-second reaction.
I'd walk the other fucking.
I think we
way
need a
because
control and we need a real test.
Brian,
so,
25 seconds is a lifetime.
Also,
Well,
also the guy
depends
that's
on the
eating his own
lifestyle.
hand. Listen, Brian, the guy that's eating his own hand. You're not paying for that right now. You're paying for the gas that's going out of your gas tank.
Yeah,
So
You're not paying for the guy that's eating his own hand.
Let me ask this:
this is true.
How much was it in terms of excreted gasoline?
Oh, probably a gallon or two. The most.
Oh, okay.
It was a very interesting experience, but there's only one place in the world that I've been where gas is shot out of my car faster than it's gone in it, and
I didn't know that could happen. Like
now you know.
Me either. Like this is news.
Hence the 25 seconds of like, okay, I'm not
Brian,
tripping.
But Brian, like, come on.
Okay, next
You're
time
not tripping. 5 seconds.
I hope.
Like Michael
I
said.
swear to
Michael
God.
said 5 seconds.
I swear to God. I hope that I am next to you when you see something you don't understand, and I can start my phone timer. You're like, ah. The only thing egregious is that you could say that I'm a dick for not going, telling the attendant. But you could also say, there's a fucking inch of speedy dry, turn the fucking pump off.
All right,
What
all
the
right,
fuck?
penis.
Oh, yeah.
I will not.
Oh, this
I
is
will
a
not
problem.
say
Just let
you're a
him deal with
dick.
it.
What the
It's gonna be
fuck
great.
is
No,
inch and dry? I don't even know what that is.
Speedy dry? It's like
Speedy
cat
dry.
litter, but they make it to pick up.
Yeah,
animals and stuff.
it's like the industrial, like,
Oh.
Yeah,
if you ever gone into
pick it
like
up in
a
Napa.
truck shop or whatever, like, it's,
Yep.
yeah, it's not
Oh,
good.
okay.
It's great. It's good. It's great stuff, but it's not for a good situation.
Yeah, but it's like, if you see that when you're pulling into a gas station, that should be your first fucking clue, right?
there's a problem.
That's not why I'm gonna go tell Larry. And I figured
But no,
out
no, no,
maybe
but
somebody
here's
had
the
a
thing is-
gas leak. Who knows? There was a gas leak.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I would have actually pulled up and tried to get gas even with all that shit on the ground. Okay, so that's not your fault.
Yeah.
The gas thing, that I've already ramped on that. You're a fucking idiot. Now, not going and telling the attendant, I now understand your situation.
Yes.
And I'm not going to call you a dick for not saying anything, but I will still call you a dick for waiting 20.
That's fine.
Like, I mean, really, like,
We all handle situations differently. So
I
that's
probably
okay.
would have grabbed you by the collar and
Can
been like,
I-
Brian, snap out of it.
Can I ask you?
Potato mash right next to my ear.
I believe I asked this question when it happened, when you told me the day it happened.
called you right after too. I was like, what the fuck?
What county were you in?
Ooh, I was by DC.
So you're probably
told
in
me I was in a
PG
bad county.
Yeah, if you probably were in PG County. That's the reason why. Also, the reason why you don't go fucking into the gas station. So yeah,
because
right,
it'll-
which is that's a non-issue.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's fine.
But you know, just to sum
gas
the situation, though,
ejaculation.
Maryland doesn't follow the laws of Newton, and I don't fuck with that. So you know,
I
mean,
believe.
Well, obviously,
I
you
believe-
wait, you wait and see for 25 seconds to
I,
see.
I
how it doesn't
believe.
fuck with
I
me.
believe when you told me that, I asked you what county you were in as well. And you
I think
said,
it was
you
PG
said,
County.
You said I don't know what the fuck county I'm in. I'm from the north. I don't keep track of that shit.
And then he hung up.
I'm from the north. I keep track of that.
Yeah.
He's a fucking
So
Yankee.
funny. What 35 episodes, give or take. We're all we finally got to the gas station story after all
That's
that
a
time.
good one.
Yeah, I'm
was
surprised.
really
I didn't know
good.
you
It's
guys
still
didn't
fun.
know that. I didn't know you guys had never heard
It's
that.
No,
still
I'm
fun.
glad I do know.
Yeah.
It's not good. Like I'll judge you forever now, Brian. Like
fine.
that's
but
fine.
I'll never forget sitting there like seeing a shh, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like,
So now I know your reaction. Now I know you freeze.
Oh.
That's fine. That's fine.
so fuck you.
Everybody does their thing.
No. Maybe it felt like 25 seconds because it seemed like it was in slow motion or something because it was like burned into your brain. I don't know.
Maybe it was Kaiser Soze moment. I don't know. You
Yeah,
know,
I will
it's just
side
like-
with Michael on that most likely.
it was interesting, you know, but
We should fucking get back to this.
that.
Oh,
Well,
no.
I have a perfect segue back into it. Speaking of reaction time, the air support was way too quick in this film. Like fucking, it
And
takes
the
at
artillery,
least
the
an
artillery
hour.
was
Yeah.
way too quick.
Yep.
So like okay, so when artillery fires, right? You hear the boom, like the thing goes off.
One more time. What's it sound like?
Shut up. So
Thank you.
all right, but anyway, so it goes off, right? That fucking round has a massive arc on it, and especially as close as they were, because they were actually pretty close, right? They were like what, 4
I think
clicks?
2 clicks out. In reality,
Yeah.
there were 2 to 4 clicks, so that's nothing.
It's
That's a
not
mile
that
or
far
two.
for a 105, which I'm pretty sure they were shooting, right?
Yep.
It's not that far, but so that would mean that they have to angle the fucking round up super far, kind of like a mortar, but like it's faster than a mortar. But
And they were using like light howitzers too.
well, yeah,
if you
I think
notice.
they were 105s. I'm pretty
They
sure
were
I don't know
105,
what
yeah, but they have
model.
the shorter range. But that would even have a longer period of flight.
Right.
time,
So
you know?
when I mean, obviously for the film's sake, like nobody's gonna. Again, I understand. A lot of things that happen in reality take a lot longer.
There
and
were
it's not
mod
entertaining.
56s, by the way.
Okay,
We'll get to that.
so I don't know. So like that's why-
L5 pack
yeah.
howitzers. So
Cool. So, But the arc on that thing is, bam, the round goes off. You're sitting there for a good, probably about 15 seconds in that scenario. Again, not an expert, but like it's a bit. But for the sake of the film, I get why they have to like shorten that up, because people are not going to want to sit there and watch these guys just squirming on the ground for 15 seconds and then the round hits. Also, those rounds, even if it's a 105, not a 155, which I'm pretty sure it's a 105, dude, there's rounds going off by guys and they're like not affected by it. Bullshit. A 105, dude, a 105 is catastrophic. Artillery
They were
is
tiny. They were
insane.
tiny explosions for
Right.
the
Well, no. The
impacts,
explosions
I
were
feel like.
well. They had too much fire, but like the explosions were fine. The effect of like having a guy like 3 feet away running through that, it's like no fucking way.
Not
No
losing
way.
his fucking spleen to the
Right, it's
fucking
like- If you're
shards of
that
metal.
close to like, so what they showed is a couple of the NVA VC guys really close to these impacts, right? The concussion alone is going to tear some shit up. You're not going to just be like doing the whole like 60s like fucking ragdoll kind of. No, there's going to be body parts that are dislocated from your entire body.
So while we're on the subject, that was one thing, and touching the whole thing earlier, with the enemy and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like they did a really good job with the Australians. And then they're like, hey, who knows how not to hurt people with a gun? Good. Put on that green stuff and grab an AK and run at these people. Like,
That's just that's movie though. Like I remember hearing once a Vietnam American veteran talking about Vietnam, and he said that he hardly ever saw the enemy.
if you saw them, it was rare. But in this instance, I really feel like, if they had taken a day or an hour or a little bit of time and explained to these guys, the Op 4 persons for this film, that this is how you die. This is, what we want you to do. Instead of just running at things. Because I really feel like this, if they put a little bit more time into okay, drop like this, fall like this, do that. It would have been great, because they did that a bunch with the Australians. Michael said earlier,
they're just down.
like the two guys that get killed in the beginning of the firefight, which is great.
Yeah.
They're just, and the
I
one
love,
guy goes for cover. That was awesome, and that's real.
One of the guys who hits the ground, he starts kind of crawling, and then he gets hit. Then there's one during that part right there. The guy, he starts shooting, and he gets shot in the wrist, and immediately he's like, he's like shocked. He's like, he's like, oh my god, I got hit.
and then he gets hit again. Then he gets hit again immediately afterwards.
That's why he gets hit once and then hits again.
They did a lot of 1-2s, which you don't normally see, because a lot of the time you just have the one, and then it's but a lot of they were NVA, right?
They were NVA.
Well, it was mixed NVA and VC.
Okay.
I don't know how realistic that would have been.
Right.
At long
Well,
term,
they
but,
they were wire rigged and modern day. So
we-
it was
Yep.
We had mentioned this before, I think, in the We Were Soldiers episode, but it's very hard to tell if someone's a VC or an NVA at times, because the black pajamas were the camp uniform for NVA soldiers, and we would wear that around if their uniform was drying or if they were doing laundry or something. So it wouldn't necessarily be wrong to see black pajamas
And they had a few
khakis
examples of
within
this,
a unit. During the war, they were referred to as mainline NVA when you had black uniforms and khaki mixed. It's just an intelligence term that really doesn't mean anything. But so that's the problem,
But the
rice
green,
hats, that's clearly a fucking
the green
stupid trope.
The
but
green is early
later
war,
as
right?
well. Early war is actually khaki. Green came out 68,
65.
and you really don't see it.
No, it came
until-
out in 65.
But as far as the war, though, you really don't see it till after
Well,
Tet.
yeah, right, because they had bigger supply issues than the U.S. or the
One road.
whatever guys.
Name
did,
another
so, yeah.
Vietnam movie though that has NVA in green, because I don't think I've really
Oh, a
seen
lot of
that.
them.
None. I don't know.
I
They're
don't-
mostly in khaki.
Yeah, most of the time I've only ever seen khaki. We Were Soldiers is khaki.
Well, it's very early, yeah.
No, I know. I'm just saying, just listing off
Yep.
mainstream things. I can't remember what Platoon is.
It's khaki.
I think Siege of Firebase Gloria.
Forrest Gump, I don't think you see any.
You don't see them at all.
Yeah.
That's what
You see silhouettes, which is pretty realistic.
That's
Actually.
the part I actually really like about that movie.
The thing is about that first engagement. You guys are talking about tactics. I think the only tactic you actually see in that movie from the NVA is the first initial opening up with 3 machine gun points on the line.
Yeah.
Hey,
like
Nate,
heavy
can
machine
can you pull up the film really quick? Like we
Yeah,
do?
let's just-
And that was
let's do some of that. I did like the first engagement though, where the NVA were just walking out on the road like they didn't know. Like both guys were unsuspecting, and like the Australians were like, "Oh shit, that's them."
I like that until he fired, and then I'm like, this sounds like Battlefield Vietnam. Like,
Sure.
you know.
Why do you think that?
No, I just didn't like this. I liked the scene. I just didn't like the sound work. And that was something generally that I want to touch on too.
Is it working?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
I really feel like someone at the very end of post-production muted all the battle noises like a few decibels, and it really takes away from the movie. Because I feel like there are points where the sound is just about to reach out and bring me into the movie. Like, for example, the firefight at the end of Platoon is amazing because of the sound and how it pulls you in. And everything.
The wedge
Like the
formations
shotgun
in the
fight.
open field.
Yep.
Also
So
were really
yeah,
good,
let's
too.
stop. Let's stop right here. This is kind of why I wanted you to play this. So they're so fucking close. They're so
on
close
the first
together.
engagement. Yeah, in the field.
No. It continues. Like
Okay.
it's like through the whole thing. Like they're so. And again, I get it. You're trying to do a fucking shot. You need these guys in the shot. I get that. But in real life, like there are ways of doing this better and portraying this better. You could get these kind of shots, but like they're going to be spread out way farther. And they continue to do this shit throughout the entire film. It's like, no, these guys are not going to be that fucking close. And they're not just going to be standing there. They're always going to be looking for the next cover, like the next tree, the next little burrow they can fucking jump in, right?
This was great, though. I love how the sound changes because that's something you definitely hear about.
Right, where it's quiet. But here's the thing is,
yep.
do you know why? Do you know why that's a bad thing? Pause this for a second, Nate. Is because when these guys are walking, there's constant noise. You hear that noise constantly, right? In movies, a lot of them are like, oh, they're moving silently. No, it's not the way it really is.
If you ever walk through the woods with gear on, you're fucking
right.
loud.
Dude, it's so loud. Now, when you're walking and there's literally, there's enemy in the area, right? Like right by you, and you hear nothing, that means they're sitting and they're watching you. It's a very simple way to put it, but like that's why these guys are like, oh, it's too quiet. It's like, yeah, because none of the other guys are, because if the other guys are moving, you could hear them from fucking a couple 100 yards away in the woods. Seriously, you can hear that. You can hear the crunching, you can hear the gear jingling and all that shit. If you can't hear anything and you know they're there, that means that they're sitting and watching you and they're not moving at all, and that's not a good place to be in. And so it's also a human kind of like instinct, I think is ingrained to everybody, especially soldiers, that you get that something's not right here. So like we're about to get fucked up. And so, yeah, continue on with the scene, Nate. Sorry. But like that, I just want to make that very clear. That's why when they say it's too quiet, it's very true.
Oh, yeah. You can sense it.
There
And they
we
do
go.
a good job with that.
Bam.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
But this is the only time you actually see like coordinated attacking from.
Oh, I love the rounds going through the trees, too, and you see
Yeah,
them
that's
bleed later
cool.
on.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're hitting the trees and there's shit coming
Yep.
off the trees. That's actually pretty good.
the goo bleed.
Yep.
There's the
I
square
also love how
box.
they got plastic over the handset.
Very common,
Oh,
yep.
yeah.
It's a
With
sandwich
rubber
bag
bands,
with
yep.
2 rubber bands. Yep.
Yep.
Not-
And that's
Yeah,
awesome.
It was really funny to later on in the movie you actually see them, but they have SG-43s on hand carts,
Yep.
and they're makeshift movie prop hand
Oh,
carts.
they're all
that are
made,
so
yeah.
bad. Yeah.
With the
but-
little wheels. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they have little wheels like that. The wheels are probably I will have to take a look at it later, but I did actually pull up the real SG-43 carts, and they're all metal with like components in it. Like
They're
they
like
are
a
in
third
there.
smaller.
But they're
as well.
they're like half the size or like a third of the size that they're
That-
less of the size that they are in the
I
movie.
was was gonna say quick. That was really cool
here.
when they dropped their packs as well.
Yes,
move out.
because that's what you do. Like,
Oh yeah, drop your
that's what we
packs and
still
rolls.
do. Like,
Right
yeah,
there.
like it's. Yep.
I thought that was really
Yeah,
well
he's just
done.
like fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, because at that point it's just numb. You don't know what's going on, but you're like your hand doesn't work,
Right.
and you go, "What the fuck?"
And just because they can't see us, the guy got struck in the wrist. That's the shot.
I
Michael
love the
was saying.
juxtaposition of the Colt Model 602s, which they actually are using, which I'm gonna have a gripe about in a second. The M16s and the SLRs. I fucking love that because yes, a lot of the units were like, hey, we have these M16s, they're lighter, which they were. They're not really that much smaller than the M16, or I'm sorry, than the SLR, but like the M16 was a little bit lighter and a lot less recoil, and that's why a lot of the guys like that. But the problem I have is if they're using Colt Model 602s, which is the original M16 without the forward assist and all that shit, they're going to have a fucking chrome-plated bolt carrier group. And they don't have that. They have nitride, which is like the A1 and later. That's a small gripe, and I get why they couldn't do it. Because they're probably just using fucking weapons that have been in service forever as surplus.
I think this was shot in Australia, yeah, so that would make sense.
Yeah, so... but yeah, they would have had the chrome bolts.
That was actually something I picked up because I remember that from our conversation of We Were Soldiers. Because it's funny, this is the same exact period of time. I think that X-Ray was fall of 65, right? September.
Yeah, November 65.
Okay, it was November. So this is 9 months later. This is August of 66.
Yeah,
So
it's not that much
the
later
same
at all.
war, generally, you know.
And these guys have 602s, which is like the one without the forward assist. Like basically, the Air Force ordered a shitload of these. I have one, or actually, I got a 604. It's a later one, but like, and so that's not inaccurate at all. Like they actually, their advisor had enough intelligence and like know-how to be like, yeah, these things with forward assist, and a lot of these have 601 receivers, which is like the slab side.
Yeah, that was cool to see.
You know, and
So-
like, yep, go ahead.
The one thing it ties into the M16 stuff that I didn't like is, again, the beginning of the film, you know, they're trying to set up the 60s and Vietnam and stuff. And, like, I really thought it was too cookie cutter. Here's the lieutenant who's like, he looks like John Lennon. And
Oh, yeah.
I hated that. But I also hated the trope where, like, they have the whole scene where the major grabs the guy's M16. He's like, what do you think? And the guy's like, well, it jams a lot and stuff. And it's like, here we go again. I don't think we touched on it. We Were Soldiers, but the M16 had a bit of a jamming issue because they changed the ammunition formula for the powder without telling the manufacturer. So there were some very early teething issues. But I hate that fucking stereotype again and again and again. Yes, at Dak To in 67, they found fucking dead GIs next to their M16s that were jammed. That's fucking fact. But it doesn't mean that every goddamn M16 in the fucking country
Brian,
jammed.
Exactly.
You know?
Brian, people love, like, you know, things of where shit didn't work for the you know, our heroes, if that makes sense. People love shit that'll make anyone sound like an underdog. And that's one thing I've really noticed about researching anything when it comes to war, is that you're always going to hear, you know, whatever, like the Ping got guys killed. Like, that's an example of that. You know, people love that underdog type shit.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I fucking hate it.
No, I do too.
Oh, again, like, oh yeah, fucking. Well, you know, when the Viet Congs had their Lend-Lease Garans that pinged, you know, take your thing, Michael. That's how they knew to throw the M16 like a boomerang, because the Australians had new boomerang technology and they used to break the guns in two. And it's like, just stop. It's a low blow. It's bad filmmaking. Fucking stop. You know.
Right.
And while we're on it too, the low ready carry. It's a lot of low ready carry.
Here's the thing: is
Not-
that was something,
but not as much as you would think. And I also
Correct.
for the time
Correct.
period, it's not as low. It's not as egregious as like World War II to me.
For Aussie, it's not right.
Well, it's like, yeah, I could buy like the guy that was SAS or whatever, the fucking, you know, guy.
Oh, yeah.
I could buy him.
Doing it with
kinda,
the Owens, I do find that is kind of egregious. But
well, because you don't have a choice.
yeah.
Like, yeah, but like, okay, so they're sitting there with their M16s. As far as that like high ready or low ready carry, you might see a couple guys, because that was, even with the U.S. guys at that time, it was still like a new concept that, you know, Mac V was like telling them like, hey, here's how you carry a weapon more readily. And that in Vietnam, like in 68 and 69 and 70, that's when you really start seeing it.
Well, even the Marine Corps, the name escapes me, but they had their own specialty, like
Force Recon.
No. It was their tactics. There's like close encounter tactics, and they had close encounter platoons that were taught to low ready carry everything in like 68, 69. And it was like one platoon, I think, in each.
That's
company
bullshit.
That
That's
was trained
bullshit.
like that. We're like, okay, if you want the fast mover dudes, here you go. Not Force Recon, but like within a Marine unit.
Yeah. I forgot what the fucking group was. Yeah, but like, but yeah, that's not. Yeah,
the idea
what I'm saying is
slowly. Yep.
But like at this point, to have a couple guys doing that, especially that guy right there that was in the SAS or whatever, as a commando, a couple guys doing it, sure, but like, yeah, you're right. It's very like, and the trigger discipline too. Like at this point,
yeah.
He would do it, but like,
also, again, you know, films are made by their cultures or whatever. You know, like this is a movie made about Australians, you know, in Australia. And it was interesting to see M16s used all on semi. Now, in reality, I don't really know how real that would be. I know that these guys are trained SLRs. You know, later in the film, he's like, you know, breathe, aim, fire, breathe, aim, fire. That's a very Commonwealth thing. You know, but I really find it hard to believe that during some of the crazy firefighting, one of those guys with a 16 isn't going to flip a switch.
One of them, sure, but like also it wastes a shitload of ammo, and that's one thing they did not have a lot of.
No, you're right. And again, it's hard to say because I wasn't there and I don't know enough about the tactics.
And also, like an M16, I don't know if you ever fired a full auto M16. It's really jumpy after like the first 2 rounds. It's really jumpy. It's not accurate, and I know a lot of the guys that I talked to that were in Vietnam that were issued the M16. They always had them on semi if they were going to be engaging, unless you were like fucked and it was like really close quarters, which is very rare. But like they were like, yeah, we had them on semi, and I was like, yeah, because we did too. Like if we were going to engage the enemy, we would do semi-automatic because it's more controllable. You conserve ammunition because you don't know when where you can get your next resupply is. Especially in Vietnam, it was even worse.
Just to keep it flowing, what about that resupply scene? I know we talked about when we
that happened. That was real, yeah.
Not bad, yeah. Not bad at all.
I wanted to bring that up because this is how I learned this movie about that. And I was like, because I didn't know before, like the helicopters, they just let it fall right out of the chopper. Like I was like, damn, that's crazy. But
everything.
So I remember reading this, and I'm pretty sure it's true. But the 2 main helicopters you see in the film were actual real Battle of Long Tan veterans that were on war memorials and were deadlined, and they actually ended up rewadding them or making them flyable for the film. So I think one of those 2 helicopters was actually one that they dropped the ammo out of, which is just fucking really cool. You know, that they actually brought it back. But yeah, no, that was a thing. And it's interesting. I read a bit about like, you know, what they learned, because this battle was very important it was, you know, their A Shaw Valley.
Super early too.
Yep. You know, the Vietnam War changed completely for Australians after this. But one of the things that I realized was that all the ammunition was packed loose leaf. And so that when they dropped it, it was a big problem because it exploded and went everywhere. So after this battle, they made sure to pack ammunition in the magazines ready to go from the factory. Kind of like how they package end blocks or like the battlefield resupply kits like they have now.
Where did you hear that from?
I was reading it. There's an article online.
Okay, because that might not be entirely true, because as it shows in this film, Australia, the Commonwealth in general, and the United States learned this in World War II and actually World War One. Besides airdropping the shit, they loaded all of their like 7.62-5.1 and 5.56 in bandoliers with clips on them to resupply magazines. That's why they always tell you to keep your magazines or like have them. And in this film, it shows when the boxes break open, there's bandoliers that fall out.
Yep, but apparently, again, I'll send you the link. But for this battle, there was an issue with the shipment of ammunition they had where it was all loose leaf, and because of this, they ended up changing it. The other thing they changed was that they raised the amount of ammunition each soldier carried from like 80 rounds to 140, and 500 for each machine gun. But yeah, we'll look toward that because you're right about the bandolier thing. But no, apparently it was a big issue where like, here's the ammo, but fucking here's a round here, here's a round there.
That's insane. Like if they were packing it fucking loose, that's fucking. Yeah. I don't know of any military that actually like professional, like established military that did that after the First World War. I really don't. Like I could be just not remembering or
we shipped it in
something.
cartons. We shipped a lot of ammunition in cartons during the war. So,
Yeah, but it was all in like sealed cans and
sealed cans and 20-round cardboard boxes. So
boxes and like so even if they broke open, most
same thing.
of the
Loose leaf. Yeah.
Well, no, most of the ammo that we had in World War II was in bandos.
Not necessarily, depending on the time of the war. You see tons of ammunition getting issued in cartons.
So this is a problem. Like, okay, right. What we're seeing right now is like shit getting dropped and like that guy just barely getting like missing, getting hit. That actually happened a lot where guys were fucking hit with these things and they would kill them or really badly fuck them up.
Yeah.
So like
I bet.
an example of that is for all you helmet nerds. During World War II they had D-bale helmets, which were the early paratrooper helmet. And they were horrible. They had this very bad problem where the bail would break and they'd fall off. Well, they had to fix it because guys were getting killed at drop zones because they would jump and they'd be landing and they would be dealing with their chute. Some dude above them would jump out of a plane. His fucking helmet would break. It would fall onto the drop zone and kill him.
Yep.
Like that's a very serious problem, and it still happens today. Fucking,
Yeah, gear. Like, yeah. Get
I
the
fall
fuck
out of
the
plane
drop
good.
zone.
Doesn't
Yeah.
always work well. So,
Yep, that's like a lot of my friends that were airborne like recently, and
a good buddy of mine burned in. Fucking
it's like when you hit
cigarette
the
roll,
ground,
he
you
almost
get the
died.
fuck out of the drop zone immediately because all that shit's gonna be falling down.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
Yep, that's what all these guys said.
I do
They're
like I do actually seeing a 60 work in this film.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not bad. Yeah.
I love how dirty it gets later on too. Like fucking, there's one scene where it's like, just
Dude,
fucking
This scene is
covered.
bullshit. This scene where the guy like YOLOs it with a fucking RPG or a
A BA-40
yeah.
or B-40.
Well, okay, Mike B, which one's worse? The RPG 2 or the machete? Because the machete's worse for me.
Machete's a lot worse.
Well,
Yeah.
it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's retarded. Like again, the North Vietnamese army was an army. They were well trained. They don't get portrayed that way in many films. They get portrayed as like the Soviet mass fucking assault. Like, oh, we don't know what we're doing. We're just gonna throw bodies at it. No, they were very well trained because they didn't have an endless supply of bodies, contrary to popular belief. And yeah, it's fucking annoying to see.
It's the Chinese communist tactic
Right.
thing that people assume
Sure.
the Viet Cong were, or the NVA or whatever.
The NVA was a very professional fucking force, a very tough army, which is why we took so many fucking casualties. It's nasty.
A lot of them had fought with the Chinese in the Chinese Civil War. A lot of them had fought the Japanese in World War II. A lot of them had fought the French, the ones that
Yeah,
hadn't
so
fought
they
the
were
French.
tactically sound. Like they were like, no, here's how you do it. They're not going to see you. That's how you do it. And that's like, when you were saying about Forrest Gump is, that is or I think Mike A was saying that. It's a really good thing that they don't see them in that film because, most of the time, a lot of the guys that I've talked to that have been in Vietnam, they're like, yeah, I didn't see them at all. They shot at me like I saw the tracers and I knew shit was coming, but like I didn't see them.
I've met probably two guys that saw the enemy. One was a Arvin, or one was a advisor who war crimes, and then the other guy, he was at a FOB that almost got overrun, and he was an artilleryman, and he had some very interesting stories where basically he closed the breech of a cannon with all the cutoffs from the artillery rounds, as an NVA guy was stuck in the barbed wire in front of their gun. So,
But
everybody else like fired a mag and once. And because if you look at a lot of Vietnam memoirs, there's like in country, R&R in Japan. I got an STD. The firefight.
Yeah.
The firefight.
Yep.
The 5-minute time where I heard bullets for a whole year, and that's a typical Vietnam experience.
Yeah. Well, and not being able to see the enemy and stuff like that. Like I remember this interview with this Marine veteran talking about that, and he says, and over time, that's why you start to mentally tell yourself that everyone's the enemy. All of the civilians and everything, all that. It's all just you can't trust anyone, and it's just that mentality.
My lie didn't happen because a platoon of American soldiers walked into a Vietnamese village. That was weeks and some cases months in the happening. These things don't just happen.
Right.
It's that living in these things that make you weaponize everything around you.
Yeah,
And so it's just living in this environment.
We've talked about this before too, but like that whole idea of we not being able to see the enemy. How scarier is that than seeing them run at you screaming like banshees? Like the fact that you can't see them. Like in Forrest Gump, I love that scene in Forrest Gump. It feels very like scary. You just don't know what's coming. And that I think is, if they did that in more of these movies, it would be more effective than these hordes of screaming soldiers.
Or do it right. Like, for example, I wrote a script for a TV show about the Puerto Ricans in Korea. And in that, I write heavily about Chinese wave tactics. But I do it the right way, like very engrossing and very there. And that's like something I want to bring up again. So I really did not like the sound in this movie. I felt like it was just like a little too muffled with everything. Because you do hear like the bugles and the whistles and stuff.
Well, it's all
And,
stock sounds. It's just muffled stock sounds.
Yeah, but like I feel like, I don't know, after going through things with Nate and stuff with our film, and you guys made artillery and stuff, like sound is so important, especially for a firefight. And they use a lot of music here to get away, to like, battles and stuff.
They
And
do
I
a
really
lot. They
feel
do a
like-
lot of slow motion. We Were Soldiers, choir.
Yeah,
flow,
and it's like there's so many times,
which
especially
is
towards the end,
fine, but it's just
where like I feel like the music's like going to pull me completely into the story, like fucking bugles, artillery, everything, but it's just quiet enough where I can't get there, and it's annoying. It's like I want the cavalry charge from Waterloo, but I'm at Long Tan. Like I fucking want that, and you could do that, but no, you get this like muffled version of it, and music, and it's like it's just not. Well, it's not that, thank God. But it's just it's cheap filmmit's in my opinion, and don't cover it up. Like you have all these amazing things to use, and it's a good point you say that, Mike. It is really a lot of stock sounds.
I want to hear my goo flowing from a tree so clear that I can be engulfed in the rubber field. Okay.
I want to get like the tree jizz on my
Do
face.
some Foley. Do some
like-
Foley on that shit.
It's like stock sound effects. It's like Nickelodeon splat sounds.
Oh, punish me, Viet Cong.
Punish me.
It's a Vietnamese man with two different color like glasses and smoking, saying in Vietnamese, "You've been slimed."
Yeah.
You 90s kids
it's-
know what sound effect I'm talking about.
Oh, I know the whole thing. Yeah. But,
I feel like
yeah.
so. I feel like the film gets totally like a lot better once they start shooting, because then you're on a path of you're in the battle.
But
and second off, I feel like the film gets a lot better with cinematography as it goes on. Like parts
Until you see the quadruple gymnastic front flip.
That was a good timing on that statement there,
I
Brian.
know, right? Jesus, but like,
So,
I feel
also-
like they fell more in their
10
stride.
on the landing. Jesus
Dude, also,
Christ.
let's be honest here. There's no recoil in any of the firearms.
The stuff that is blank adapted is blanks, but then also the thing I think that really stands out, and I know I chimed on earlier, is the CG flashes, particularly when they're
Yes.
charging. And I get it. I'm not going to harm someone for CG flashes, but you need to do it good, or you need to do it less.
Yeah. Did they
Yeah.
add CG flashes to blank firing weapons?
Yes.
I thought they. Yeah.
No.
that's
No, well,
I thought
they
maybe.
did. They did.
Well,
They
maybe,
did.
yes, but the ones that are egregious are the ones where no one's firing actually anything, and
and
the
they're
flashes
just
come
they're just
out.
like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and also the sounds of the 50s rolling in when they get the 113s in there.
We sound
It's like
pretty
that's a stock sound. It's so quiet. It's so muffled. It's like a fucking M2 opens up, dude. Everybody in fucking a 5-mile radius is gonna hear that bitch.
That was the other thing I got the fucking Platoon vibes from, and I know it
Yes,
happened in reality.
exactly. Yeah.
But like I will say this: I love me an M113. I mean, I will not bitch about the fact there's an M113 in any Vietnam movie.
you ever
I
had
guess
to
I
ride in
will,
one?
But no, actually, it's one thing I have not done.
Dude,
There's only
Brian,
3 of them in
you're
the
a tall
country.
dude. You're a tall dude.
Oh,
There's,
well,
there's
no,
only
you-
3 of them in the country.
You,
There's
you don't
not
ride
many.
on the inside because you fucking die from mine blast. So you ride on
Well,
top.
right,
so
but
you
like
get blown
you
off.
as a tall guy, you're not going to enjoy it.
I don't fit in most tanks. It's not.
Yeah.
I like it because I like tanks. I don't like it because I'm tall.
The
British tanks are the worst, by the way. fucking small goddamn limeys.
Dude, I somehow was able to get my gargantuan ass into a Lee. Okay, I think you'll be able to.
Oh, a Lee is like a fucking living room. That's a fucking huge tank. You fucking try to go call inside of a Comet. Or fucking
no,
because
it's not physically possible for someone.
For some reason, it's fucking. They paint the inside silver, so it's even darker than any other tank ever made, and fucking it's smaller than every other tank ever.
Brian,
made.
have you ever had to squeeze into like a Stewart or something like
that?
Oh,
dude, I love Stewarts.
Stewarts
I
are
fit
cool.
really well in Stewarts.
Yeah,
there's a lot of room in Stewarts actually.
I actually can almost fit in a Stewart. What stops me is my shoulder. It's my shoulder width. I have to really squeeze myself through the hatch. Yeah, it's surprisingly not my gut. Yeah. It's my fucking shoulders.
Stewarts are nice. The worst American tank, I'd have to say, is the Locust, the M37. That thing.
Also, it sucks in War Thunder. Fuck you if you play a Locust. Fuck
it's
you.
really hard to get in. And then the other tank is the M8s and M20s, the armored cars, because the steering wheel is about 2 inches away from your gut. So when you get in the driver position, you literally like, okay, I am going to burn. The first thing you tell yourself, I am not getting out of this tank alive. And then once you accept that, you can get into it and you're gonna die.
What about like a Greyhound?
Yeah, it's that same thing. M8 Greyhound.
Thing. Okay,
they're a bitch.
Sorry, yeah.
M8,
I just know
M20.
it's a Greyhound. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yep. That's the nickname for them because they had two, or they had one. Yeah, they had one V8, and they have armor underneath the tank, so you can't really hear it drive.
What's the worst vehicle you've ever had to be in?
Worst vehicle I've ever had to be in. A 222 Scout car. Fucking way over engineered. The fucking steering wheel's backwards for no reason. Everything is hard to get to. Everything is pointy and sharp.
Oh, one of these.
It doesn't run. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the German Scout car.
Yeah.
This is the one from the Littlefield Foundation that was actually in Africa because the guy, when they were restoring it, they found sand, and they had the sand analyzed by a lab, and it came out of Tunisia. So, fucking, that's also like one of 2 or 3 left in the world.
Are those the ones with like the fucking cages on the top?
Yeah, they have the cages on the top.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know we got killed in that constantly.
They
every time
they
we
look
played.
really cool.
Yes.
They are really cool.
Super like
until you have to use it.
Super
like a piece of shit.
That's pretty much everything German in World War II, though.
Yeah,
well, it's funny because I almost said
a tiny dude.
I almost said Stug, but I love Stug, so I didn't want to say that. And Stugs actually aren't that bad. They're pretty open on the inside.
Yeah.
Panthers and Panzer IVs are kind of constrained, but
you ever been inside a Tiger?
When we eventually, no, there's really none in the States. That's the problem. The museum I'm working with is working on getting a 1 and a 2 Tiger.
Nice.
So, yeah, eventually, yes. So, but no, I've not been in a 113, and that's something I'd definitely like to go into. There's 3 in the States.
Are very small.
There's 3 real ones in the States, and one of them is owned by.
There's way more than that.
There's 3 real ones I know of in the States because they were bought by the Egyptian government, and they were on the pier at New Orleans getting ready to get shipped to Egypt, and fucking Hurricane Katrina came through and destroyed them. And they were bought by military collectors. Most of them were not surplus to the public in the States. They were all given to other countries, or the M113 chassis is still used for a lot of stuff in the military.
Yeah, you get a lot to Israel. I know that.
Yeah, but there wasn't a lot that were surplused. But of the 3, I know that one ended up with the guy that owns Moore's Militaria in Texas.
Yeah,
that's the one that mostly you see in movies today and stuff because he pays it and brings it out to things and stuff, and so that's really cool. But there's not many left. We got a few more things we can get through, and then we can jump on IMFDB.
There was only one time in this movie I saw someone one-hand a subgun. It always happens one point. It's disappointing every time it happens.
Mm-hmm.
But at least he was carrying someone, and he had it somewhat like gripped up, but it was still annoying.
I one time came across footage. I think it was on Paylaloo, film footage where these like 2 guys. One of them is shooting into trees with a BAR, and the guy next to him has 2 Thompsons. He's like dual wielding them, and he's like that.
Hey, look, it's Captain America.
Right. I was like, Jesus Christ.
I'm sure if the situation like called for it, I'm sure you could eat. Like, if you know how it works, like it's not. Yes, like was it unheard of? No. Is it practical for every situation? Fuck
yeah.
no.
I'm sure that like he was lucky he happened to have 2 Thompsons with him. Hey, the camera's right here. Let's put on a show.
Or, hey, I'm carrying my Bryce Thompson, and I have my Thompson because he's doing a grenade or whatever. It's like, would he do that? Probably not, but I'm trying to paint a hypothetical scenario. Oh, there's Japanese in the woods, fucking mag dump 2 Thompsons because I have them. You know what I mean? Like, okay.
Right.
But it's like, I don't know. I feel like when movies do it, it's always for the hero pose or the hero shot, and I think that's more of what I have the problem with.
It's the Rambo shit, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I think it was Wind Talkers. I think Nick Cage one-arms a fucking 28.
He does, he's walking around. He's like shooting it
Get
like
me
a
in
Mac.
here.
He's shooting it like a Mac 10.
Doesn't he lay down in one hand? No, he double hands it actually for that's in the beginning. I always think that's the scene he one hands it, and I always go like, oh my god.
It's at the very end where he's I guess been wounded or something, and he just with one hand he's like,
hit me in the air.
Right, and all the Japanese are just dropping like flies.
Yeah, I think that's the only time I ever really kind of go man, I did thought this was very interesting though, the whole again, I think Brian also hit on the head with, is it a Vietnam movie or is it the battle movie? And I think, throwing in, officer status where you don't quite know whether that kind of big walrus dude is one of them or one of the higher ups and kind of flip-flops back, and he kind of is constantly flip-flopping back in terms of mentality by, I want to make sure I get all the credit for make me look good on this, that I arrive with the reinforcements, although if they had waited for them, they would not have made it in time. So it's I thought that was an actually okay story ploy, but yeah, it flip-flop. Again, I think Brian kind of nailed it, where it's it needs to be one or the other, I think, to be really, really, really good, and it tries to do both. And again, I don't hate this movie overall. I think I don't hate it either. I think we were a little harsh on it when we did it because it was one of the I think this was number 4, I think originally, but then we
learned a lot.
Lost. Yeah, we've gone through enough pain to know when we have love. Mm-hmm. So it's I think here's the SG-43 scene with the giant wheel cart.
I remember picking that up the first time.
Yeah.
Bringing it in on the wheelbarrow.
But I was actually hoping to see some Maxims in this, but I know if 43s were more practical at that point in Vietnam.
Well, no, they were more practical, yes, but they still had a shitload of.
No. I know, but
Yeah.
if you're talking about stuff that needs water or stuff that's air cooled, which one are you going to go for? You know what I mean?
Right, but also they didn't usually have a choice. It's
no. I know it's whatever they had. I know. I'm just talking about movie wise, picking stuff.
Oh, movie wise, yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Here come the 113s. Woo!
Yeah, those. My only experience with those is playing in them in Rising Storm. And having
they're really small, very small.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You do get that feeling from that in the game as well, which I thought was cool. And I've seen one. There's one at the Tank Museum in Noakesville, Virginia, I believe.
The Tank Farm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't know if they finished building their museum yet or not. I think they're starting to do that or whatever. There's the one in Gettysburg that just opened up, the Tank Museum there.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's where I was last weekend, and the Sherman caught fire, actually.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Speaking of which, it just came on screen, which is why I paused it. Look at the muzzle flashes right here.
Yeah, they're like flares. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned that, and it's the STG 44, which that fire rate's not right.
What makes them super fake? Well, yeah, absolutely. But what makes them super fake is putting that aura of light around them, making it look like a super bright light source.
You also need a lot more fake smoke, a lot more other things.
Also, go back to where the AKs are shooting.
But I've noticed that in recent movies with those things, they make this fucking bright light come off the muzzle flashes.
Yep. So watch the AKs that are shooting after this scene. No charging handle movement.
No,
Yeah, I
yeah,
saw
that's
that,
that's
yeah.
that's how you can know that.
I don't
that's
think
how
there's
you
any
know.
shells ejecting.
None of
Right.
them. None of them. Nothing's moving. There's
There's no movement.
There's no movement. There's no shell ejection. That's how you can. I mean, A, that's how you can tell, but also B, just like here, no one's actually
that
shooting.
looks
Everyone's
so
just
bad.
going bang, bang,
Right.
bang, 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 bang.
You can digitally add in shells. So yeah,
Right. Well, again, I mean, here's the thing that I always fight trying to be critical of a movie like this is that you have this huge budget of explosions and pyrotechnics and correct gear, and yeah, that's great, but you can't spend $100 more for those shots to have blanks.
Yep.
Or
That's exactly.
Or can't
it.
you just give the hero AK or can't you give like the 10 hero AKs that can actually be B-fonged and actually have them there in that shot and do that?
Right, because
Like-
by you not
Can't you
doing
make
that,
fucking slant break B-fongs for your AKs so they actually look right? You know?
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
it's a lot.
this is what I'm saying about 105s. Like, if it was that close, he wouldn't just be sitting there talking on the radio. Like, that shit fucking scrambles your eggs. It's
everyone's dead or everyone's deaf. You know?
they
I-
never get artillery right in a movie ever.
I do like how they had the really cool. I really do like the detail that the New Zealanders are the artillery. Though I do like that a lot.
I also love the Maori dudes that are mixed in. So that was
Maori.
really cool. Yeah, I'm gonna get it wrong, but like the tribal, the indigenous tribe that's from New Zealand.
Yeah.
Because you see a
Maori,
ton of them,
yep.
and you could see the difference because it's like, oh look,
Yep.
white dude, fucking beefy motherfucker, like
Yeah.
And I thought it was just cool.
Huge dudes who can rip you in half. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. That guy's actually running the artillery. He's in a couple other shows.
I like that guy. I think he did a good job.
Yeah. He's the
It's like-
main gunnery sergeant guy.
He's got a good arc from being like, we can't call that in to like at the end we're like, we're all gonna die unless you call it in our position.
Right,
Like
yeah.
he gets it.
Yeah, also, okay, so in this scene, the 113s would also be way the fuck spread apart.
Yeah,
There's just no way they're all going to be
that's
sitting
framing.
together.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I know it's framing. I get that. but,
also, sorry, my experience with armor, you button up, you're not going to get anybody killed. You're not doing anything by shooting a 50 cal. I mean, look for RPGs and stuff, but like fucking just drive through the plantation. Like all you're doing is you're exposed. That's the most exposed place on any armored vehicle is the anti-aircraft or the main armament on a 113. Like
Right.
you got shot for no reason. Like you have a gun shield, or not in that guy's case, but like fucking get low.
well, it's chicken plate. It's not going to do shit.
Here's your hero.
Chicken. I haven't. Is that an Iraq term? Chicken plate.
Yeah, that's what we called it.
I hadn't-
the
The cupola. I hadn't heard that.
Alright.
It's interesting.
yeah,
Alright.
the little.
I will call my one BS scene that killed the movie for me in this sense. Not in a detrimental way, but just come on.
alert.
Spoiler. The main actor, the high profile actor Travis Fimmel pulls out a 45 to 101.
No, it's not a 45.
What is it?
It's a Browning high power.
Oh, I didn't see. Okay.
No, it's not. It's a 45.
No, it's dude. Look closely.
I'll take a look in 1 second.
It's a
But the
single-
point,
I thought it was a 45 as
the-
well, but
the
it's
point
a
is-
fucking
the
high
point-
power.
the point
let's confirm
is-
it together.
the point is,
Yeah, let's confirm
he has to kill a NVA soldier running in with a machete. So
Right.
that's my problem.
Yeah, this
Like
is
the
like
end of
that
We Were
fucking
Soldiers,
bayonet
by the way.
scene.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The end of We Were
It's like
Soldiers.
yeah.
That's a 45. Are you high? That's a 45, Mike. Mike, that's a 45.
Okay, let's look at it closely.
Doesn't he shoot him in the face? Yeah.
That's a 45.
Oh my god, it is. It's a fucking
Yeah.
1911.
Well, you know how I know that? Because after the scene when he raises it to like engage more targets, I'm like, he should have a high power. That'd be really cool if he had a high power.
I thought it was
So-
like so when he raises it after the scene,
the
it looks
second,
like a
if he-
high power. Like that's why I could have sworn it was a high power.
So that's what he would have been carrying though in real life.
Yes, high
Okay.
power. Yeah,
All right.
Yeah.
yeah. Like the Commonwealth was issued high powers, which is the better fucking move. It's a better fucking pistol. But hey,
Mike,
I
totally agree with you. I love my high power.
dude, I've got the fucking the PM63 or the whatever the fuck it is, the Hungarian or PA63, man.
I got some. Yeah.
It's amazing. See, okay, so hold on right here.
That's a 45.
1911.
No,
That's
Look.
1911.
No, that's a
It's a single stack.
1911.
Oh my
that's
God,
a
it is.
1911, Mike.
Yeah.
Single stack 1911.
Oh my! I wanted to see a high power so bad that I really
Just
No,
wants to
same.
believe.
Yeah.
Okay, that was the Mandela
but-
effect, dude.
Yeah.
That was the Mandela
I will say
effect.
this though. I will say this. They get a pass because I saw so many Owens. I will never see this many Owens in another movie.
Yeah.
Well,
So
and
it's
dude,
okay.
Aussies, dude, they got so much shit from the U.S.
Oh, yeah.
that a 1911's not out of the realm of possibility.
No, not at all.
But, however, comma plus for dramatic effect, most likely it would have been a fucking high power.
Oh,
Let's
yeah,
be
for
honest
sure.
here.
And something I
yeah,
I like
this
the shot.
shit.
This shit.
I did like the shot though.
You like this shit? It's fucking stupid.
You could say what you want about the artillery, but I did dislike the framing.
I
That's
did
just
like
an
this
artistic
too,
thing.
where it's like it actually shows the open bolt M60, like fucking the round
Yep.
or the bolt goes forward, the round comes. Okay, this is what I'm talking
Yeah.
about right here. Pause it, Nate. Pause it.
Yeah, that's the ground charge.
That
with
is the
styrofoam.
exact fucking scene I was talking about earlier. If that's a 105 that hits that close to you,
That's like a 60 millimeter mortar round.
you're gonna need. No, it's not. It's a 105. They're calling an
No,
artillery on them.
I know
No,
that.
I'm
Mike,
getting-
but
I'm getting
the
passionate
way-
about this
The
shit.
way it
Yes.
looks like a 60.
Well, dude,
Nathan can hear the quad rotor from the drone that just
Dude,
dropped
even
that.
okay,
this is your
okay. So
Ukrainians.
Nate, let's go with your thing. Even a 60 millimeter mortar, this guy is going to be in fucking ribbons.
Oh, yeah,
It's
That
like
no,
this
close.
100%.
Tom Lee painting from the war where the guy gets turned into hamburger meat. You
This
know?
is-
Right,
There's
like,
a-
even with the
It's him
60, even with the
midway
60.
as he gets. As
So-
he's turned.
This is
There-
wind talkers like explosions without the Michael Bay propane tanks.
There's
Like
a
I
great,
I totally agree with you.
There's a great
Michael.
Sorry, in terms of like the shittiness of this, in contrast, there's a great moment in HBO's The Pacific where they're using mortars on a Japanese like pillbox or whatever, and when you see one land, you see this explosion, and in front of that explosion, all you see is like meat chunks, and like and blood
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and it doesn't look gratuitous or over the top at all. It's just like that guy got vaporized,
So realistically, if a 105, we're going to say they're using HE rounds, right? Because it's infantry targets, so it's a soft target. If a fucking 105 landed near him, this guy's body would be at least in 3 or 4 chunks. At least. And it would be also like Swiss cheese because of all the fragments and rocks that it kicks up.
So yeah, 1911 again.
Got
Mike.
the man stopper, not 1011, the Colt.
It's Uncle Samp's 2 world wars.
Single-handedly won 2 World War. My pappy carried one of these when he stormed the beaches at Normandy.
That was the other thing too. Fucking, they arrive and they open up the APCs and they have a ton of infantry. But meanwhile, when they pick up the fucking colonel, like he's in the back and it's empty. It's like, so they chose the one
Right.
M113 that had no troops in it. Like,
What are
no.
you doing? Yeah, like
Yeah.
you're going to pick up guys with a shitload of infantry. It's like,
Hey, Mike A., do you remember that guy? He's on screen right now, the sergeant. Do you remember what he was
Yeah,
in?
he's in Hacksaw Ridge.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
That's what I
Luke-
thought, so yeah.
Luke Bracey.
Is he the
is
BAR
his
guy?
name.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
yeah,
the BAR
he's the
guy.
BAR guy
Oh,
in
that's it.
Hacksaw.
Who was a made-up character for the movie. He wasn't real in real life.
No. I think the movie's all made
Most
up.
of
as
that
well.
movie's
Yeah,
made up,
yeah.
yeah.
Desmond Doss was a man.
Oh, I
The
hate
end.
that movie. God damn it.
You know, we'll end up doing it eventually.
Yeah.
What do you hate more,
So-
The Patriot or that movie?
The Patriot at least has like, I don't know. The Patriot has more entertainment value in my opinion. So,
Right.
yep,
right.
exactly.
Yeah.
so I would say I'd rather watch The Patriot than Hacksaw Ridge.
So, just a few quick things as we transition over to IMFDB. It was just a tad bit too long.
So you
towards the
seem
end, I
to
was like,
you seem to feel very like ambivalent about this movie now.
me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
This-
well, this is what
you're
I
just
felt.
like what? You're just like I don't know what this is.
well,
Yet
I don't
you
know.
said you
It's
liked
just-
it.
I do like it. It's gonna have a high rating, but it's like I don't know.
What
I
are
felt
we
like they
doing
could have
here?
cut 5 minutes. What did we do?
Why are we here?
What is a wallaby?
What is life?
Birch will get this one, or Mike B. They would not all be on the same radio net. Like,
Correct.
platoon talking to like battalion staff, like talking to
Yeah,
artillery.
no.
Like
Yep,
there's
change the fucking
platoon
channel.
nets,
Yep.
Yeah, there's platoon nets, there's
I know,
battalion
yep.
nets, there's so while I get the effect and stuff, I'm just like, if you had
Again, it's
the-
for a film. It's just to simplify
yeah,
things
but it's
and
like-
speed it up. Yep.
It's like when I was trying to think about that, like, okay, imagine if they actually did only have one channel because Australia was cheap. Like, fucking everybody would be talking over each other, you know? Like,
Oh, there's no way. Yeah.
the naivety of the command is a little annoying, but it's okay because it's the early part of the war. And I like how the one scene where like nobody knows who's in charge of the air support or anything, like when they're trying to figure out like who to resupply. Like I don't feel like that. I feel like that's the closest they got to a political thing in the film because they're just trying to show like, you know, these guys aren't the most experienced, but they're also trying
Well,
to
it's not
figure out
political. It's just more of like, again,
just 1966 Australia, you know, just be like,
well,
we'll figure it out.
everybody that
Yeah.
was there. Because, like, dude, the U.S. military really didn't figure it out until like mid '67.
I think 77.
In my
we really figured it
opinion.
out,
Well, yeah, in my opinion. But like,
Yeah.
like I mean, like figure out how to do that kind of shit. But like, yeah, 70. Yeah, well, fucking yeah.
Yep.
I agree with you. I know what you're saying. So, but like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I agree. So,
Cool. Well, as always, guys, we're now on to IMFDB. And we begin with the gun that Mike said he didn't see in it, with the 1911.
I literally, honest to God, I literally thought that was a high power because I wanted to see it, and I was like, cool, they got a high power in there,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh fuck.
Even a high power for like prop shots than a 1911 for
Oh,
shooting, I would be okay
fuck.
with.
Right.
I'm
like,
I did want to chime in on that first scene on that very in that character introduction scene. It's so funny because I think I stayed on this before as well. It's like I cannot not see Ragnar Lothbrok from Vikings in anything that Travis Fimmel does because he takes that kind of like not crazy but that confidence twitch that he does, and he does that in all of his acting now after he's done Vikings. And so, like, as he's walking through, I'm just like, he's got a hatchet. He's just gonna, you know, scream and throw fucking hatchets through people at this point. But he does a lot of, like, the little tweaky, kind of goofy, like that kind of thing. And there's
This
a
is
lot
actually the Battle of Vinland, Nathan.
Yeah. But no, it's just really funny to see.
I haven't seen Vikings, but that guy looks like he would be perfect for that kind of show.
And this
He's very
isn't
well
me
cast.
because this isn't because I really like the series, but it's a really good series. You should watch it. Once he's not in the series, you can stop watching it. It's fun to keep watching it, but he's the main reason why it was so good, in my opinion.
so he dies. Thanks for the fucking spoiler.
I
you
didn't
piece
say
of
he
shit.
died. I said he's just no longer in the show. You can get out of a show a couple ways, Mike. You can get fired. You can leave. Your character dies. You aren't getting paid enough.
Well, there, you just said it.
They write
all I
you
know-
out.
You just said it.
All I know is that if you happen to be a like 12th century monk
It's also like
on the coast
it's
of
also
England,
like 8
you
years
should watch
old.
out for this
so,
guy.
like, if you
this
haven't
guy is
watched it
headed
yet.
towards you with a bunch of ships. Go inland. That's all I gotta say. So as I drop shit.
Well, as inland, and then he'll just go up the fucking French River and take out Paris.
Let's-
So there you go.
random funny tangent. They used to put monasteries on islands because they're like it's the safest place because it's away from everyone. And then the Vikings showed up.
Yeah.
Look at all these islands that have nobody defending it.
Yeah, if you want
Lots of liquor.
if you want a good series for
It's
Vikings,
funny though.
that's a good
In the
one.
same token, Nate, I forget his name, but the guy that plays Hitler in Downfall.
Bruno
It's the same
Ganz.
thing. Yeah, anything he's in, I'm just like, why is Hitler in the West German government?
Yeah,
Because he's
that's
in a really good.
that's how
Bader
good
Mannheim
he is.
film.
That's how good
Yeah.
he is as that role. That says something about him as an actor.
Oh yeah, but it's just like Hitler died, and now he got reincarnated as a West German government official. Okay, I'm in. Like,
Well,
what's going on?
Now he's dead for real. Rip. R.I.P. You know, Bruno Ganz.
Oh, he is. Oh,
Yeah,
he
he
died
died
a
a
few
couple of
years
years ago. Yeah.
Did he die in his bunker? He kept the couch from the production.
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Match the
AK
bloodstains.
Bada bang.
Well, they should be Type 56s, but
Well, no, they would have had AK-47s at this point.
Can you go up for a second? On Luke Bracey's back right there. What's up with the barrel? It looks weird.
the wrong blank fire adapter.
BFA.
Okay.
on
Yeah,
the
I was
end
just
of
gonna
it.
say the BFA. Yeah,
It's not a
Yeah.
it's not a slant brake adapter. It's just like a Polish or not, actually I haven't noticed, but it's like a com block one.
Yeah, that's
So-
that's like a cult, like a an
Okay.
old ass.
I will say
BFA.
this though, it looks wrong, but that gun probably fucking works flawlessly because those BFAs, even though they they don't look right, they work great. And the reason they don't look right is because you want to know the difference for a 19-year-old idiot soldier between what a regular muzzle brake is and what a blank firing brake is. So it's not good for reenactors and stuff, but it's very easy to blank adapt. For anyone that has experience blank adapting old firearms. Ugh.
It is a pain you'll never overcome.
Yeah.
I want one so
I get
bad.
cottonmouth just thinking about it.
I want L1A1
The L1A1
so bad. There's 2 of them in my shop, but they want like over $2,000, and I can't.
I love mine. I have a 64 British kit. The Aussie ones are nice.
Yeah.
Maybe a Lithgow.
Let's go.
Muzzle
There's nothing
shot
like
right
a,
there.
nothing like a, yeah. That was a cool shot where it's aim, breathe, and they go from his face to the muzzle and everything. I like that.
I did like the guy amping himself up to use his weapon as a club because he was out of ammo. That
Yeah.
was pretty good.
What are you going to do? The M16.
Yeah, it's a Colt Model 602.
You know that thing always jams, though, right, Brian?
Right.
Oh, it's such a piece of shit. It's a Mattel toy, you know.
You know, it's
Fucking
interesting.
piece of shit.
In some like 1960s, like I remember there was something about some like pamphlet or something on how to take care of the M16, like when it first came out, and they have like illustrations of it, and the illustrations
It's all tits and ass.
right, yeah, and
Yeah.
they have they have it colored to where like the back, like the stock and the around the barrel looks like it's made of wood. Like they colored it to make it look like it was made of wood. I guess
Well, the original furniture was, and then
Oh,
they went
really?
to Bakelite.
It was
and they went
green,
to
and then it was
fiberglass.
the early ones were a few different colors. But
Yeah, the 601s were green.
if you look in our group chat, I'll put a photo of the manual. But yeah, it's all that like, hey, it's 1967. Don't die in a shell hole and apply
Right,
Kriv.
I think they call it like the Sweet 16 or something.
Yeah, well,
So he's
well
got
Sweet
a-
16 actually was a shotgun, but yeah, same thing.
He's got a
But
PU.
it's all that,
Yeah.
Close range sniping.
Yeah, that's it, Brian.
Yep.
That's what I.
Yeah, all that like stuff. And hey, I collect World War II pocket guides, and it's the same kind of thing. Like, how do you get a 19-year-old interested in anything? Oh, so the PU sniper. So that was one thing I wanted to touch on. The distance that guy is away from the fucking Aussies, and the way the scope on the PU works, there's no way that it would work at all. Like, he is like 10 feet away.
Also, he's got the fucking muzzle like go up, Nate, in the
through
thatch,
the reeds.
like,
Yeah.
How the fuck are you going to see through that?
Now, I wasn't there, but I knew you guys had mentioned it in the Stalingrad episode. Is it a 91? There's no
Go
globe
up
on the front sight.
Go up.
There's
Go up.
no-
Go up.
there's
Yeah, I
nothing
was
on
just
the
gonna.
front
Say, I was
side.
just
The
gonna
rear
say.
sight. What's the rear sight?
Okay, so
We
go
gotta get
down
s-
again. Go down again.
Let me pull it up. Hold on. Let me pull it up on the thing.
It's a 9130 rear sight, but like
Yeah, but
It could be
no
like a Spanish Civil War gun
front.
that just has a different dovetail, but
no, but like that front is completely different.
I didn't see the globe, so that's
No,
why.
it's a
and
barleycorn. That's a barleycorn.
We're referring to the front sight on the sniper rifle.
It's a fucking finish capture barleycorn.
Funny.
It looks like that, or what the fuck?
That's
is
a wrong
that?
handguard too.
Yeah,
It overlaps
that may
the
not
front
even
of
be
the,
the same rifle though. Remember that.
No, it's a different rifle. Yeah.
They got that shot
so-
later.
Yep.
So click on the top one. Yeah, like what you're click. No, what we're just gonna click on. Yep.
That's a PU.
Oh. No. Oh, yeah, it is. It is. It's got the brass.
At least it's a
fucking-
31, but yeah, strange
It's
front
a
sight though.
9130. Yep.
Weird.
those that don't know,
bands,
the
though.
ring-
It's got the
the
weird
ring-
bands on there, the silver bands.
It's just got the later war bands that have no bluing left on them. So,
Right.
but yeah, I did notice that. 9130s should have globes on the front sights. So
Yep.
it was cool to see SKSs. I love me an SKS.
Yeah, because they were used heavily at Type 56.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
You never see them.
You don't have an SKS?
I do.
Oh, I thought you said you didn't. I thought that's what I just heard.
I have a Vietnam War bringback one actually.
Oh, okay.
It's a Chinese one. I'll show it to you eventually.
Yeah.
I've only got an Albanian one that was.
That's
sent
still
from
cool.
China.
I still need one though.
It's got the guy's name carved into the fucking stock. It's amazing. I love it.
That's very cool.
He's a war criminal from the things that happened in '97 in Albania. So
What's
Really?
cool about mine is that I found the guy that the plaque is named to, so I eventually will get in touch with him. And I also found the guy. It's got an American soldier on it, and then it's got a official, a South Vietnamese official. And I found the official. He's still alive. He lives in Los Angeles, like a lot of the other Vietnamese that came over here after '75. And then the American soldier lives in Texas. So I'm just like, I have the gun that connects both of you guys that are still around. It's pretty funny.
Fuck, it's gone. Never mind.
that shot's mirrored, by the way. Or no, never mind.
Oh,
It's not.
I remember.
It's
what,
not.
I remember what I was gonna say. I have a Madsen kit that I'm getting someone to make into a semi. But the Madsen kit I have has Portuguese written all over the stock, like tons of names all over the place, and I have to. But I think they're fairly common names because if I look them up, if I type in the names, I don't get much of anything. But also,
This guy's from Portugal.
yeah, but doing what I don't know. But it's covered in graffiti.
Well,
it's really cool.
Portugal has a very checkered history of colonialism in the last 50 years that not a lot of people know about, by the way.
Yes,
You know,
yeah.
so like,
Yeah, when I did I was like, I typed. I think when I got that originally, I was like, what wars have Portugal been in since
You ever-
like 1949?
You ever hear of Mozambique?
Yeah,
Angola?
it
Heard
was,
of that?
dude. It was filled with mud. Filled with mud.
From
It took
which of
me-
the aforementioned countries?
It took me weeks to clean all the mud out of every like crevice of that thing. It was insane. I got it from a VFW that went out of business. That closed. So it was.
Why can't
very
we get the
interesting.
younger boys in here?
Yeah.
Also, you younger boys, you don't matter. We ain't gonna listen to you. On the VFW topic,
Yeah.
just throwing that out there. So
So the STG-44.
So
Never
Actually,
actually
very-
fires.
very commonly used firearm actually by the NBA and VC.
such a.
Yeah, they didn't use it
fucking-
for too long due to multiple reasons.
No.
But I knew a guy who went to a weapons bazaar in Saigon in '68, and he bought a Candy 8.
That's a later style.
Dude, that's because the Soviets sent. So the Soviets
All
captured
the Russian capture stuff. Yeah.
yeah, all that shit, and they were like, well, we're not going to directly support.
This is probably the same STG-44 in the other picture. That's
I'm sure,
a late war variation. That's like a gray phosphorus one because it doesn't have.
That's not phosphate.
That's not phosphate.
No, that's a mid-war one. It's got a sight.
But the
Does it
but
have
the
a sight mount?
no, it doesn't have a sight mount, and the
Oh.
stock is not beveled in.
Yeah, but the stocks you could change. I mean, it's Australia.
Well, yeah,
so
but you know,
That's
it's hard to cherry pick prop guns.
that. Well,
or,
I
you
mean,
know.
that's the one shot where it's
oh,
using
that is
the,
a mid-war. Look at the
Yeah.
look at the
really
muzzle.
long BFA.
No, that's not a long BFA.
That's a BFA.
No, it's not.
That is.
No, it's not.
It wouldn't matter because it's not
Nate-
actually shooting in the scene. It's
Brian,
digital
don't
muzzle
fight
flash.
me on this. I will die on this hill. That's not a BFA, dude. That's the long style muzzle nut that's doubled up.
That's not.
I'll
the
go get my
MP40
fucking book right now.
Nathan,
and
no,
will
I know what
fucking
you're
fight
talking
you.
about. It's not an MP43 muzzle brake. It's too big. It's even too long for that.
No,
They're
it's
like
not.
3/4 of an inch.
No,
That's
it's
like
not.
an inch and a half long.
No, it's not.
That's a
I'll
BFA.
go get my
Anyway.
book and I'll prove you wrong.
I know what
when
you're
have
talking
when have I
about.
ever fought you? When have I ever fought you this passionately? Except when I
Once.
actually know
Once in
once
3
and I
years.
lost probably. But my point is
No,
that
neither of us won.
Okay, so I pulled
that's
up what
the old one.
I pulled up what you're talking about, Nate.
It's too big. It's not an MP43.
That's what she said.
muzzle
And
brake.
no, it's not.
We're not talking about your cheese wheel.
That is
okay.
the early one. I swear to God.
I don't know, man. The this photo I have right here it looks a little too short.
That's what she said.
Then she died.
All right, that's
think-
it. We're calling
I
the
wonder.
armor
I
of
wonder
this
if
film.
we had this fight last time, Brian. Because it seems very deja vu right now.
It's not deja vu. This is the Candy 8 fight, but like, you need to settle this now.
You know what? I'll do one thing that doesn't happen today. Nate, I'll agree to
STG
disagree because there's not better
44.
photos.
Now I'll go.
I
get
just
my
sent the photo in the
book.
fucking Scuttlebutt chat, motherfucker.
What? Just now?
Yes.
No, you did not. Oh my.
Yeah, he did. He just sent it. Yeah, it's right here. I got it.
Okay, hold on. Where?
No, listen. That shot from the movie is almost like a perfect side shot of the weapon.
Yeah.
Just find a perfect side
That
shot
is
of
exactly what that fucking is.
muzzle.
That's too long.
Break and then just, or
That's too
whatever,
long
just-
because no, it's not. That's because that thing is a certain height. That's the same fucking thing over there. I swear.
Third
to God.
party looking in on this, it's a BFA because
You
it's
guys
not a
are all
fucking nut.
high.
It's not a nut.
You're
it's
high.
a
You're
smooth
fucking high. No,
Nathan, shut up. Let me tell you one thing.
that
if it
is
was an
not.
MP40,
That is not
if
smooth.
If it was an MP40, I would be
There is
correct.
a nut on the.
It's
fucking,
smooth. There's not.
That-
No, there's not.
It's totally a BFA.
Guys are. I'm gonna fucking.
But what's funny though, Nathan?
Rage.
This is the only gun where we can have this argument because this is the only gun that uses a stupidly fucking antiquatedly long BFA for like 16 months. Sorry, 16 weeks of production in the early part. Of
Dude, it's the same length as the fucking nut is, but it's not
It's
got the
definitely a
nut
BFA.
on it.
Yes,
It's like
it
it's just
does.
smooth.
I can see there's texture. This is the same fucking discussion we had with the 29th helmet, where you guys tell me it's not fucking 29th. It is fucking 29th. So you want this fucking nut? It's right on the fucking goddamn gun right here.
It's not.
It is. Trolling
When I was a kid,
motherfuckers. It's
my
there.
mother
It's
taught
right
me
there.
to not fight someone that has a migraine. So
Trolling
I don't give a
motherfuckers.
fuck what she said, but like,
well, you know, she's a nice lady.
yeah,
Nathan, I personally don't agree that is.
it's a BFA.
You guys are
I
both
think it's
like a
all
BFA
three.
in my
You were
opinion.
fucking wrong, and I'm right. As
But
ever.
but
Okay.
you are right though that the MP43 is used a stupidly long, stupid fucking muzzle.
But
brake.
it's also a different color. Go up one more time, just so I can
It's
show
got
you, Nate.
fucking ribs on the goddamn
for her
fucking
pleasure.
right
Look
there.
really close.
Right
It's
there.
such a-
Right there.
it-
See that texture?
it-
You don't
no,
see
I
those
don't.
ribs right
No,
there?
I don't.
Right there. Right fucking
No,
there. And then there's
I
a gap
don't.
and there's another one. I
Dude,
swear to fucking
it's
God.
smooth
that
it
is-
and
wasn't
it's
in
a
1911.
Why
It's
would they
BFA,
need a
okay?
BFA
It's a
on
completely
something
different
that didn't
color
shoot? It would be correct.
than where it screws into. Like it's completely.
It's not
I
a
wish I could
BFA.
support you, bud. I wish I could
it's
support
not
you.
even fucking shooting. It's correct. It's right there. It's fucking. I'm right and you're wrong. Fuck all three of you. It's there. Fuck you. It's there. It's fucking right there. I'm right. You're wrong. End of story. Boom. Done.
I disagree. I disagree. It's a BFA,
Oh,
but
you-
hey, go ahead.
It sounds like
Hi.
Thanksgiving 2020.
Jesus Christ!
God
no,
damn it,
it's-
I'm right.
But there's no nut on there. Like I know what the fucking.
There's a fucking nut on there. You blind motherfucker.
There's not
It's
a
right there.
Dude, I'm blind.
You're
I'm
blind.
blind?
It's ribbed. I'm gonna get yelled at by my wife.
It's not
it's
ribbed.
Fucking
It's
right there.
fucking. It's completely smooth. It's a fucking.
Let me know what you
shitty
want to get back to.
BFA.
I'm gonna read a little bit.
Where's my fucking book? I'm gonna solve this.
Go get your book. Yes, go get your book.
The Conquest of Egypt. Oh. Great Arab Conquest. Yeah.
But no, seriously.
No, it's like it's a completely different color from the gun. Like it's not blue.
Yeah,
or
and
anything.
it's smooth. It's like I
Yeah.
can see it. It's there's not a nut on the end of it.
No.
Like the
It's a
fucking
muzzle
I
brake.
can't find
that
my
they-
book. I take
It's a
all-
muzzle.
can't find your
oh,
book.
My book.
Okay,
is
now I'll give you
upstairs.
fucking
It's
shit.
upstairs.
Oh, you get the book. You get the
I'll-
book. I can't
okay,
find the
all right,
book.
okay, all right, fine.
Oh,
no,
no.
we'll delay
Oh.
this even more. I'm gonna go get my book then. Fuck you.
Get the fucking book. Get the fucking. Well, I
Okay,
mean, he's
hey.
got to settle this. He's got to because I think it's a
hey,
BFA.
you know, listen. What fucking island we talking about here? You know, there's a lot of fucking
Yeah.
islands.
No, the fucking islands.
The fucking
That's I'm
islands,
telling
know.
you, the fucking islands.
Falcon,
No, that is a BFA.
Falcon.
It's clearly a fucking BFA.
It's too long. Also, I don't think it's the
It's a
same length.
BFA.
Well, no, so here's the thing: is it's the same length, but it's just one. Well, it might be a little bit longer, but like it's just one solid tube
Right.
versus the nut that would be on the end of that thing if it was the muzzle device that went on.
I just found another photo that compares a 43 to a 44. It's not looking good for Nate.
No, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I'm a dipshit. I know this stuff. Like,
is he back?
yeah, he's back. He's back. All right, get your book.
What do you got, Nate?
I'm so glad he's the one that's pissed
firepower
off
to
this
striking
time.
power, and it's the
It's kind
official.
of funny to rile him up.
No, but it's good that like Nate's the one that like is pissed off this time.
I'm breathing heavy.
But we're gonna settle. We have to settle this. We have to settle this because if we don't, it's
He's just going to
worse.
show us a photo that we already know that it exists, and then we're not going to.
Okay, Brian. Yes, but maybe, most likely. But like, we have to at least entertain. Now he's frantically like fucking gonna rip pages
Under
out
muzzle
because he's
brakes?
I'm so pissed. Fuck this.
Gotta
But like,
find the
I get it.
fucking
I get it,
example
man.
of
I
it.
get it. I get it. But we do have to settle this. We do have to settle this because that's clearly a fucking BFA.
Fucking
No, I mean I'm not trying to be facetious. Like,
why would
wrong.
it be?
You're just
Why would
wrong.
it be a BFA if it wasn't fireable and the flash is so bad and it's not moving? Why would there be a BFA on a rifle
Okay.
that doesn't?
well, the flash is CG.
Yes. So why would you need a?
But no, he's actually pulling the trigger, so there's some kind of blanks coming out of it. They just
You can
enhanced
pull a
it.
trigger and nothing happens. It happens all the time.
Sure.
I just want to end this.
Well, here, I'm gonna fucking here. Let me.
Nate, you're wrong. Okay, so
No,
anyway.
I'm gonna search for it while we keep going.
Okay.
All right, talk about this, please. while
Oh
I
yeah.
find this.
No fucking way, Nate. You're wrong. Like, there's no fucking way.
All you were high. It's,
The Owen was awesome to see in this film like a million times. And I didn't notice that the Owen has a dust cover until I really took a look
Yeah.
at it.
Dude,
was
it's
pretty
it's
cool.
probably one of the best submachine guns ever made.
fuck is this?
There's a really good video from Ian from Forgotten Weapons about it that I suggest. It's just the best video out there to really get the story. But the Owen has this crazy story where it was like this guy made a machine gun and then forgot about it.
There was like a teenager, or it was like some
Yeah.
young dude that like made this thing in his garage, like figured it
Yep.
out, and then it's,
It is one of the wackiest subgun designs next to the Sten, I think.
I have not had the chance to fire one, but I've had a chance to play with one because our museum got one donated actually, and it was fucking. It's like the strangest, most awkward machine gun ever, but it works. It
yeah.
works really well, and it's just like
It's like
it
the
looks stupid,
it's
but-
like the Bren. You're like, why the fuck would
Yeah.
anybody use that? But it was like so good they used it up until through the fucking 90s,
But the Bren doesn't look like some fucking mad scientist just made it in their Wallaby or whatever.
Well,
like
yeah, it's a
fucking-
little bit more. It's older school, but like
it's like if you get shot by an Owen, you're like, that thing works.
it's a
like,
paintball gun. It's a
It's like getting
paintball
killed by
gun.
a Sten. Yes.
This is literally like a Titman fucking SL68
yeah.
that's like fully automatic.
Yep.
That's what you're getting killed by is like a fucking paintball gun, and it's
And they
one
have a
hell
really
of a
slow rate of
submachine
fire
gun, though.
too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, wasn't it close to like the M3? Like,
Yeah, I believe.
somewhere around there. Yeah, but dude,
Yeah.
that thing was so effective. They used that thing, through Vietnam, as we're talking about it. But like, they used that thing for a long time, and it's like, yeah,
A bunch of them were actually used by U.S. troops in Vietnam, mostly the Riverine forces. You see a lot of photos of those guys with them, and that's
Interesting.
because the Aussies were really they were, I believe, in the southern part of the country, 3 or 4 Corps, and that's where Vung Tau is, east of Saigon and everything, and that's where really the
Yep.
Navy operated in country, 4th Corps and everything.
Most
So that's why you get the crossover.
most ones that I've seen just online are like usually got camo painted.
yep.
That was a factory camouflage, yeah. Nate, scroll up for a second.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, so there's it was a factory camouflage for like Papua New Guinea and stuff, and they have that crazy like yellows and greens, and it's very akin to the Rhodesian camouflaged FALs, if you know what I'm
Yep.
talking about. They call it the baby poop green. So
Ugh.
And the G3s, by the way.
yeah, they did do G3s as well.
I've got a couple of G3 mags that are original Rhodesian, which is
I'll have
like
to buy those from you at some point.
nope,
I-
not for sale.
That's fine.
This isn't.
I'll
it.
find some others.
This isn't it, but I thought you'd find this interesting.
Oh, so you didn't find what
And
you're
not
looking
yet,
for? Okay.
motherfucker. Look at that.
Oh yeah, the
The
chrome
vampire,
Lauf
a
or
little,
whatever.
hold it a little bit more crooked.
My mic arm's in the way.
Oh, it's
so-
funny. Your finger is just on the right spot of
One
like,
of those just sold at auction actually.
Yeah,
that's
one of
a
those
two-tone.
scopes. Yeah, I sent it to you.
I
It was
said,
like
yeah. That's
yeah, it was
remember
like
that.
$20,000
Yeah.
or some shit. Yeah.
Crazy, but no, Owens are awesome, and they're great.
Yeah.
Next
Well,
gun, Nate.
it's simple. Yep. Next gun, Nate. Nathan,
Yes, I know.
you're working here, bud. You're on.
There's
You're on
a
the
whole
fucking
chapter
clock.
here on blank adapters, and I'm trying to see if they have a
Okay.
picture.
my
of
God.
it.
So we can talk about the M2.
Oh, the
but
52.
I got a
Or-
good
yeah.
comparison pulled up right here next to the actual screenshot. If you want me to share my screen.
Why are you?
okay, go for it.
countering
Yeah.
me here with
I'm just
Logic.
trying to do it right.
We're just
Hold on.
trying to get you to move on
Yeah,
from a
let's
subject
see
you're
here.
wong with. So
You don't have to.
Okay.
We don't have to move on. We got to close it.
I
And the moment
gotta
to close it,
find the picture that
they
I
definitely
know.
use a rare, obscure.
yeah, right.
Yeah, that's definitely BFA.
100%. It's too long.
I don't accept it.
It's a different
Fake
color.
news. Fake news.
I'm gonna. Do you want me to get a fucking micrometer
news.
and measure the distance between the gas port and the front sight?
He's locked.
and then
He's locked in his boomer ways. Yeah.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Not good.
All right, fine. I'm not wrong though. That's not. I know I'm right. There's a fucking example in this book.
Yes,
I don't want to
Nathan,
spend another hour
yes.
trying to find it.
Nathan, we know that Joe Biden stole the election. Now, can we please have sweet potato casserole? Okay.
Fucking simpletons, all three of you. Fucking.
So we have the
right.
M250 cal.
So
the
we have the
M2
M2, but now it's gone. Are we gonna go back?
No.
Or-
Well, we've already hit this fucking thing. I mean, it's the greatest fucking machine gun to have ever been invented. End of story.
And that, yep. And just like what am I getting at? I don't even know. I'm fucking going. M2s are cool. Let's go to the next.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
Nothing to
The
say.
SG-43.
I was gonna mention the kangaroo and the M113, but it's okay. Yeah, the SG-43 with a really big fucking tripod. Like it's like two pieces of angle iron welded
That
together.
shield also is different. There is a different kind of shield.
It's a little bigger, yeah.
Yep.
Does the Maxim have the little front bit like on
No,
this one?
it doesn't.
Okay, so do you think that might be
That's
in the
you know
Maxim
why?
shield?
Because the SG-43 shield can get turned into an AA mount, and that's where it digs into the ground.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. That's
So,
cool.
it's actually a much better mount than the Sulikov mount. Even though the Sulikov, this is the Maxim mount, is really cool.
Yeah. More versatile, I think, I would have to assume. Because they kind of were trying to do like what the Germans were doing near the end, right?
Yeah, it was a lightweight thing.
Yeah.
And they were used heavily. I know Penal Battalion. I have a Penal Battalion memoir in Eastern Front, and they issued them in like mid '44. Brand new SG-43 is ready to go.
So just
like,
throwing
you know,
this
they were
out
used
there
a lot.
on this picture, I'm pretty sure I'd be pulling that fucker instead of pushing it
Pushing
into
it.
the dirt.
Pushing
a
it
wheelbarrow?
Oh, yeah.
like a
Yeah.
kid lawnmower.
Right.
You never push a machine gun; you pull a machine gun. That's a
Yeah.
big thing with Soviet doctrine.
Just throwing that out
because-
there.
And a lot of times they had ropes as well that you tie to two guys, and you can go pretty fast actually.
Yep.
So
And just so that my memory serves me right for Russian doctrine, the DP-28 was their light machine gun, the Maxim was their heavy machine gun, and the SG-43 was their replacement for eventually for the Maxim because they were trying to make it lighter, correct?
in general, yes. And the Dishka was like an anti-aircraft, anti-material rifle. It really never made its way down into the heavy weapons category for like the Soviet armament,
Right, yeah.
like the 50 cal did. So
Yeah, because I was just trying to because like I always confused my
It was like a-
German
it was like a
doctrine with
regimental or
every other
divisional
doc-
asset,
Right.
so.
I mean, I always confused the German doctrine with other doctrines, and I always forget that Germany was kind of rare in that sense that their light machine gun could be turned into a heavy machine gun depending on what
Yeah.
they had with them, and I always confused the fact
That was-
that Russians don't do that as well.
that was Germany was the only country that did that post World War One, and it wouldn't be until the GPMG. Actually, until the M60 was the same thing. You could put it on a tripod, or you could take it off. So
Yeah, you can make it.
technically,
You can make it a light
into
machine
sustain.
gun, a medium, or a
Yeah.
heavy. Yep.
And that was the idea that came
Technically,
out of-
the 1919 could be as well, right? Couldn't the 1919 be put into a 1917?
Yes, but no.
Yes, but
No, because
no.
here's the thing:
Yeah.
is a 19 is they tried that with the A6,
Didn't go well.
but you cannot have one.
I
guy.
know, yeah, like I know it wasn't used like that ever. I just couldn't remember if you could put a 1919 and 1917 heavy tripod.
Oh yeah,
Yes, you can,
Okay,
but like
yeah.
then it's a medium or a heavy.
Right.
Yeah,
Then why would
there's
you
no-
when you
there's
can
no
make it be a
light.
light? Yeah.
Yep. And
with
so a light
the
is like a
bipod.
42 you can use as a light, a 34 you can use as a light. You can. It's not convenient, but like
That's right, because the 1919 doesn't have a bipod; it has a tripod
Remember,
until
the
until the A6, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
The 1919 is odd because it's like for some reason, the States was the only country that's like, I don't want fucking water cooled, so we didn't.
Yep.
But it's still a receiver that's made for a water cooled machine gun.
Exactly. Yep.
Right, yeah.
So
Yep.
it's really fucking heavy and reliable, but it has half the sustainable rate of fire because it's lighter. So it's this very odd weapon where it's like, yes, you can make it into a lot of things because it is a lot of things, but it doesn't do all of them. You know, it
Yep.
doesn't do everything the right way or the best way. You know, like if you want a fucking gun to hold the airfield at Guadalcanal, the water cooled is where you want to go.
you know. But if you want a squad weapon when you're in the Bastogne, an A6 isn't going to cut it. But
Yeah,
it
an A6.
job.
I've tried to shoulder fire an A6 clone.
Yeah.
No.
You could hip fire one like John Barcelona did later.
No,
in the war,
sucks. It really sucks.
It's all. It's
but a
all
34 or
gist of where you're
42,
going.
you can shoulder fire those fuckers. And
Yeah.
it's like, that's the cool thing. And same with the weapon we're going to talk about now, the M60. You can definitely shoulder fire that fucker.
Yeah. Which has its lineage in two of those firearms you just mentioned.
The FG42 and the MG42. Woo!
Yeah. Yep. But
Great machine gun. The 240's better, but not
by much.
Well, here's the thing: is
It's
you can
lighter,
carry an
right?
M60, and you can shoulder and hip fire that thing as an infantryman. The 240 Bravo, it sucks to carry because there's no forward grip on it.
I thought the M60 was based off of the Belgian.
Nope. You're thinking of the 240
FN
Bravo.
whatever.
You're thinking of the 240 Bravo. That's
The
the
Mag
FN
58.
Mag.
Okay,
Mag 58. Yep.
Okay.
Which
And-
the Aussies used heavily, by the way, in Vietnam later.
Right,
On. More
right.
so than the M60.
Right,
So-
but at this point in the war in '66, they were still getting a bunch of shit from the U.S. But then they started because the Aussies were there for a while. This is like very early Aussie.
66 to 72, yeah.
Right, so this is very early Aussie involvement, and they're going to be using a lot of U.S. shit. But yeah, they were using the Mag 58 for sure. Excellent point.
I'd rather carry a Mag 58.
No, you wouldn't.
There's no really difference.
No, you wouldn't. Dude, trust me. There's okay right here on this picture. No, stay where you were, Nate. Down. All right. So that forward grip, when you're carrying that fucking thing and you're humping that thing and you're firing that thing in close quarters, that makes a world of fucking difference. On a Mag 58 or a 240 Bravo, you don't have that. You have a pintle mount and you have very jagged metal.
I totally agree with you there as far as like as a usability
Also, the Mag 58's
standard, but
6 pounds heavier. So
true. Oh yeah, no, but I feel like it's a more reliable machine gun.
yes,
the
more
instances where an
reliable.
M60 won't work
Yep.
for whatever reason, which is incredibly rare, but
Not really.
it's funny though that the
Yeah.
58 and the 60 served side by side in country.
Yeah,
And,
exactly. And we chose the fucking 50 or the 240 Bravo, like the upgraded
Technically, the
version.
older design we
Yeah,
chose.
exactly.
You know,
But like it works better, and grenades, the M18 smoke grenade.
and
Yep.
also just to touch on it, the Mag 58 or the 240 Bravo is also the Gimpy, the GPMG that the British have used forever. They're using the Falklands and
Yep.
everything, so or Commonwealth nations have used.
A
The
really
M18.
really cool fucking thing that they did in this film that they usually don't do in war films is they pop the smoke because they said, hey, pop smoke when they're doing the ammo drop off, right? They pop smoke, and then on the radio, you don't hear them go, we popped red smoke or we popped whatever. You hear them go, the pilots go, I see red. Yes, that's us. Because they learned this very early on, I think in World War II actually, that if you pop smoke and you go, I pop purple smoke, and the enemy has got purple smoke, they'll do that. They'll pop it, and then you don't know where the fuck to go, and you can get drawn into a fucking whatever. They didn't do that in World War II. That was a Vietnam thing because they had helicopters. Might have been
You're
Korea.
always over open comms though, completely. You know,
Right,
So you
but
always
that-
got to
that-
assume you're always being listened to. So
That's why you go, yep, they go, all right, waiting for your signal. And your signal can be, I'm going to shoot a flare or this. And then if the pilot goes, I see red smoke, which they did in this film, then they confirm it on the radio and go, yeah, that's us. And then they're like, okay, that's where we need to go. So that was a really, really good touch. Like, so their military advisor must have been really fucking good because overall this is not a bad film as far as that shit's concerned. So, but it's a stupid detail that like nobody thinks about, but like it's a very important thing.
Again,
it goes to show how important smoke grenades are too. You know,
Oh, very.
I was just gonna say though, I think again this film does some of the military very very specific details very well, and they kind of get lazy on, I think, showcasing the film that so it's not super Hollywood. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how else to describe how kind of what I'm feeling, but it's like if you know that shit and you're that precise, then why are you doing this? if you know this, then why are you doing that? Like that's kind of like
Well,
what
right.
I
And there's
feel like
also
with this film
a lot of the
sometimes.
shit's in the editing
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we know that. But like, the M26, yep. Actually, the M61, but the M26 was the one without the jungle, or they call it jungle clip, but like, Type 67 grenade, yep. They should have grabbed those fuckers too. I don't know if they showed that, but like, they should have grabbed those fucking things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how they don't tell their platoon leader about it too.
Right.
Like, oh, those are
right.
definitely Chinese
What's
hand
with the
grenades.
hole drilled in?
That's a
demilled one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a shitty stock picture. Yep.
They're all over the place. At least rotate them.
You
so
see
don't
that
see
with,
'em.
with Mark IIs sometimes in movies. The bottom will have a hole.
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So
Like that's
already-
such a very minute thing to like notice, and only us would know that. But still, it's just lazy if you know it.
Best artillery crew in a movie. I'm gonna say that.
not bad at all.
I really liked it. Yeah.
Yep. Like fire mission, the gun chief.
Even
or
the
gun-
spacing on this,
yep.
although I feel like it's too close technically, but
They're actually
It is a little
not.
close, but it's good.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fucking sandbag work right there,
yeah,
guys.
that
Holy
is,
shit.
yeah, that's a lot of.
But yeah,
sandbag
like a
work.
fire base, you see like the original pictures of fire bases in Vietnam for like the US guys, the ROC guys, and Aussies. It's not, well, they're a little bit farther apart than this, but not by much.
No, it's
for the
it,
actu- for
it
the
just
actual
looks like they're close
battery,
enough to
yeah.
get them in a nice shot. For honestly,
Yeah, because the battery, like you got to remember, like when they get a fire mission, like they have to all run to the same spot, and they also need to communicate constantly. Like if they say ceasefire, they have to fucking be able to say ceasefire, or repeat means fucking go again, whatever, all that shit. So they have to be close enough to like see each other.
Command and control.
Yep, because obviously you don't hear shit.
What?
Fucking, yeah, exactly. Every artilleryman that I've met before the this war has been just deaf as a fucking doorknob.
Oh yeah. And broken backs.
Yeah,
82 mils. That was cool to see.
yeah, they would have definitely had those from the Soviets.
Yep.
Yep.
By the way, mortars for NVA. By the way.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yep. You guys listening? RPG 2.
RPG 2s or B-40 rockets or BA-40s they referred to them during the war.
Yeah, I think that was.
You see 'em-
That was a B-40, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure that the actual nomenclature like that, but
Yeah.
they were used a lot and they were very deadly,
Yeah.
especially against 113s and Sheridans and stuff.
And everything.
They used to weld the turrets of Sheridans to their hulls and you couldn't use them again. So
Yeah.
that was a big problem.
Yep. So, all right, that's IMFDB.
Yeah, really good selection. I'd say the only thing I'm annoyed at is that there's no high power. But I'll let it go because the Owen was fucking... And the SLRs are great too. No black stocks, no suit
Nope, it's all
scopes.
wood. Yep.
Nothing that's like, that takes away. It's just good old-fashioned Australian infantrymen,
Yep.
So, well, I think it's time to move on to final thoughts. And I think that, Michael, you should take us on this journey. So, what'd you think?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's got some interesting stuff. I would recommend it. But like all war movies, yeah, it has some shit that comes with it. But overall, I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I'll pass it on.
Mr. Mike. Oh, yeah, whoever wants to.
I'll pass it on to Mike B.
All right. Cool.
Our advisor.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm just sitting here, man.
Tell me about Korea.
But no, again, like Mike A said, like it's got a lot of shit wrong with it, but it's also good to see Aussies represented in any capacity, because again, we always, as Americans, we're always like, oh, we were the only ones there in World War II. We were the only ones there in Korea. We were the only ones there in Vietnam and the first Gulf War and this war. It's like, no, we've got plenty of people that are there with us, fighting with us, like on our side. And Aussies were there in a pretty substantial size in Vietnam. And I'm glad that they actually showed one of their biggest like battles. And like, it was a catastrophe. But like, it just shows that. And There's a lot of technical shit that we just talked about. Okay, that's fine. Overall, yeah, I'm on the same page as Mike A. Like, I would recommend it completely to watch it. It's not the worst war film by any means that I've seen. There are some like shitty like slow-mo scenes where it's like, okay, whatever. What are you trying to do? And a lot of that shit too, like the whole like I forgot who it was running through the jungle at the end. It was like Elias running through the jungle in Platoon, right? It literally was. That's exactly the same fucking shit. Different fucking rifle. Okay, but like, come on. But as far as like just again, like we were talking about, getting people interested in like going, oh, Australians were in Vietnam, Australians in New Zealand, Anzacs, I call them, still to this day. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. I'm going to go research that more. That, it's a huge factor for this film. I love that. And overall, I'll also give it a 7 out of 10. So.
Who do you pass it to?
Nathan. Stop looking at your fucking book.
MP43.
You're not going to fucking win.
MP43.
Nate, I'd love to back you up, buddy, but like I just can't
no,
on
no,
this
no,
one.
no.
Nathan Schmeiser.
Fuck all three of you. This is a semi-auto. It's a semi-auto post-war BD-44 muzzle device at the end. Fuck you.
Let's see it.
Do you have a photo of it?
Oh my God.
No,
How you gonna hold the book?
You will show it. You will show it, or I'm gonna call bullshit.
Top one.
That's
No,
not it.
Too short.
No,
totally
it's
not
not it. It's too short.
It's the
way
angle,
too short.
dude. It's not short.
It was
It's
taken at
the
a
same-
90-degree
it's
angle
the
to the
same one.
perpendicular
I
It was
swear
line.
taken
to
with a
God.
fisheye lens.
Nathan, I'm sorry. You get nothing. You lose.
Nathan-
I will come back to this.
Nate,
I will come
Nate,
back
you got
to
a little, Old Bay in your nose.
I
You
will.
might wanna
I will
deal
come
with it,
back
so,
to this. I will be proved right. I will come back to it. Anyway,
Nathan, it's all there, black and white, clear as day.
Scuttlebutt episode 2007. See, guys, I was right. It's like,
just wait. Just wait.
And
My-
it was a BFA. It just wasn't that shiny.
Australia
just-
doesn't
just
exist as a
wait.
country anymore,
Just-
but I was right.
Just
okay?
wait. My
You know?
time will come. Okay. Just wait.
Okay.
I
do too.
don't know. It probably is fucking fake, but I still will double down that I'm right.
Well, it wasn't fake. It was a BFA. It was a real BFA, right?
It's not a BFA, dude. It's
Don't
not
get 'em
fucking
started.
moving.
Don't
Why would they
stop.
need a BFA if it's not gonna fucking move on the goddamn gun?
Okay.
Stop
okay.
poking
What are
the
your,
bear.
What are your final thoughts?
That
Mr.
or it's some
Bear?
fucking Australian man going, I can make the same thing.
Crabs
Look,
attack
it's
too,
missing
you
that. Anyway, fuck.
Crap
Yeah.
battle.
It's okay.
Fuck.
Yeah.
All right, so
We'll get you some crack.
Well,
We'll get
fall
you some
fucking
crack after the
flustered,
fucking
man.
episode. Just
It's Maryland
final thoughts.
pastime.
oh
you
my
know?
god.
do your final
You
thoughts.
live in Baltimore. We get it.
So, so
You ever smoke crack out of a crab shell?
Ow. God damn you. Oh, fuck. I just laughed vape juice out of my fucking nose.
I saw that.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, bud.
Dude.
It's a claw that's got tinfoil on the inside, and then you put a bunch of crack in it, you know? And then-
Oh, fucking bitch, Brian. Fuck you. Oh, man.
that's
You're
it,
so
man.
crack out of a...
call it a crack shell.
That's staying
Damn
in.
it, dude.
How many brain cells did you lose with that wipe?
It hurts, but just go ahead. Do your fucking final thoughts, Nate. God damn.
So, anyway, other than,
Charlie, don't vape, man.
other than the fact that I'm right and that's a real fucking end of the fucking STG 44, the film actually is pretty damn good in the sense of that I think what brings it down doesn't outweigh the good that it's in. Yeah, there's some really bad cliches like 45s and machete charges. There's the explosions are not, the artillery rounds are too small for what they are to me, to be nitpicky. Cinematography is like a B. You know, it felt, it's not it's not like middle of the road. It's a little higher than that, and I think, in my opinion, and I really liked it overall. I liked the characters. I liked all the props. I liked all the uniforms. Nothing screamed out that it was like 1980s or ridiculously old. Didn't like the NVA tactics with bonsai charging and turning into pink mist, which is what really would happen if they did that. So I mean, all in all, I think I gave this the same score. I'm going to do it again. I think I'm going to give this a 7.5 Screaming Mel Gibson's out of 10. I think that's where it sits. I really liked the jizz trees, jizzing all over the place.
The jizz trees.
Yeah.
That's the name of an album, dude. Oh my god.
Name of a band.
Yeah.
The
jizz trees.
Yeah.
So self-named album.
Coming this fall.
Coming spelled CUMMING. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're,
right.
they're smoking.
It smelled like Kunming, China.
They're smoking crack out of a crab shell on the fucking cover.
Do you know about our fake band posters that me and Sean used to take? We could totally take an angsty one like that. It's like Nate in the background with like crab in his beard. It's like no, it's like a man. It's like Nate's face like lit up by like a smoking crab. Like,
do you
claw.
remember? Do you remember the cover art for Hobo Fights?
No.
Do you know what that is, Mike B?
That
do you know what
sounds
Hobo
really
Fights
I know
are?
what bum fights.
Bum
is.
farts.
Bum fights, yeah. Bum
Yeah.
fights, I remember that.
Bum Fights. That was what I was trying to. Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Amazing.
remembering. But I'm remembering that with but I'm picturing that with me with the crab. So
How do you
It's just-
burn your friend's esophagus?
No, it's my nose. My nose got fucked up.
sorry.
Like, because I was trying to stifle it. I coughed like raw fucking.
You let it
deep
out
juice,
and then you sucked it all back in.
right, and it just didn't work. But like, have you ever smoked crack out of a crab shell?
Is that a reference to something?
No, it's not. It's just
That's-
something that like
That's just me.
just
I'm
Brian.
picturing it.
Pure Brian.
I'm
No, it's-
picturing it. I'm like,
It's funny, but I was just like, is that from something? Because I don't know.
it's
that
like
kind of
smoking.
No.
It's like smoking weed out of a conch shell.
right. Well, no, it's like you ever smoked hash out of a human skull?
Yeah.
It's like you ever.
Well, it's like I always quote like the air, what is it called? Airplane. Like, oh, you ever see the inside of a Turkish prison?
Yeah.
Ever see a grown
You ever
man
see a
naked?
grown man naked?
Yeah, exactly.
That might be what you're remembering it from.
That- that's also
smoked
where the line.
crack out of a crab shell.
You ever see a man eat his own hand? So then you haven't seen everything, have you?
Have you ever seen gas shoot out of a gas?
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Nate, I agree with what the fuck am I saying?
Everything but the MP44 debate. Yeah.
Yes, I agree with 99.7% of your comments tonight. But no, I mean, I really can't add too much to everything that I've said tonight or that you guys have said. But it's a very interesting movie. I just wish that they would have figured out what it was going to be: a movie about the Battle of Long Tan or a movie about Australians in Vietnam. Both which are great, and I really feel like this is the best. Most modern, iteration of Australians in Vietnam, and because of that reason, I gave it a higher score than I would have. But it's a really good movie. It's really worth a watch, and like we're saying with a lot of these films, if it just gets you interested in the subject of Aussies and Nam, then that's cool. That's worth it, and it has done its job. So that being said and everything, I would give this an 8.5 out of 10 because I really feel like it's just it's really cool to see. Our allies in a war that people think, it was American college kids fighting the whole time. So it's just nice to have that other viewpoint of it, and not being botched, just telling a story about, Australians fighting in a war. And, yeah, so putting all these scores into the computer that will tell us if we actually will be in Hanoi by 1969, we get a score of 7.5 out of 10. So
Not bad at all.
It's good. It gets a C plus. C. It's a good film that you really should watch if you haven't heard of it or haven't seen it yet. Yeah. Clear your plans this Friday. Go grab a Foster's and fucking watch it. It's a really good movie.
And don't mention it as Danger Zone because that's a completely different movie and a different reference because it's what I constantly keep referring it to.
Danger Zone.
Yes.
Danger
2019 Danger Close. So, and yeah, it's very interesting though to see this movie and compare it to other Vietnam War epics. and kind of see, you know,
Yep.
how they went around it and everything. But
And also completely embrace it.
yeah, they did pick the best parts of those films.
Yeah,
You know,
agreed. Yep.
So got to give them that. But does it work? You know, I mean,
We'll see.
the recipe doesn't always make a good cake. So, way it goes. Catch you guys next week.
Bye.
I'm right and they're all wrong. Don't you listen to them. It's only me. Only me. No, they can't hear anything you're saying. It's just me here because I'm the editor. I'm the captain of this ship. I steer this fucking course. It is real. No one can hear any of you. You're all muted. It's just me and you, baby. All right? It's a real fucking MP44 muzzle device on the end of that. Okay? No. You can talk all you want. They can't hear you. They only hear me. I am the captain here. Look at me. I'm the editor. I'm the captain. It's just me. Bye, everyone. Have a great weekend. They can't hear you. No, they can't hear you. No. Bye, everyone.
You're just gonna edit this shit out. That's fine.
Yeah,
but I'm still recording, motherfucker.
Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a rating. Otherwise, Mel Gibson won't stop screaming. If you like this content, make sure to check out